Sensational young man right here.
Can you imagine going 3,600 miles running across the country?
Unbelievable.
Oh, that takes some guts. What an honor to have him here tonight. He's really drinking it in, and I don't blame him.
I love it. Yes, sir.
Great crowd here tonight, and receiving a tremendous ovation. So Jeff throws the first ball in the game, and we wish him Godspeed as he continues on that journey to Los Angeles.
He was down in the clubhouse before the game playing cards with Dwight Gooden, Wally Backman, and Ron Gardenhire. Pretty good card player, too.
He better be with that group.
It's a road game, right?
Boy, I'll say. Well, the Mets have set up their defense. It's Hernandez, Backman, Gardenhire, and Brooks. In the inner defense, the outer defense, Heap, Wilson, and Strawberry. Fitzgerald will be doing the catching, and Dwight Gooden on the mound for the Mets. Dwight comes in with a record of 7-5, an earned run average of 2.83, 41 walks, 125 strikeouts. Second to Fernando Valenzuela, who has 128. And Dwight is making his first appearance ever against the Cincinnati Reds.
And a late change in the lineup. Young Eric Davis was taken out of the game, and Gary Reedus will lead off and play left field. Dwayne Walker, who was originally scheduled to play left field, has moved to center field, and he'll bat second. Dan Dreesen in the lineup tonight. His second start in the last 4 games, as he has been nursing a pulled hamstring. Dave Parker batting fourth and playing right field. Wayne Krenchicki, the Trenton, New Jersey star, high school star there, will play third and bat fifth. Brad Goulden will bat sixth tonight and do the catching. Ron Oster, the switch-hitting second baseman, batting seventh. Tom Foley, who had a 2-run homer in the second game last night, will bat eighth. And Mario Soto, a good-hitting pitcher, will bat ninth.
And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WRTV, and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audiences. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WRTV is prohibited. So Dr. K on the mound for the New York Mets. Keith Hernandez with a banner stretched out in his honor. And also honored here prior to the game, Cincinnati pitcher Mario Soto was presented the 1983 Buck Canillo Award as the top Latin player last year. The presentation was made by the Latin American Press Organization. Previous winners were the Dodgers' Fernando Valenzuela in 1981 and Pedro Guerrero in 1982. So Gary Reedus, who has not played in this series, to lead off. He has 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, hitting .280, and he can fly. He has 31 stolen bases in 34 attempts. He has been bothered by a sprained ankle.
So his flying tonight may be cut down considerably because of that ankle. Unfortunately for the Reds, as we see Kay corner, those 2 young men will be stringing up the K's when Dwight Gooden, if Dwight Gooden strikes out any of the Cincinnati Reds. And Gary Reedus. The Mets have been fortunate in that they have run into the Reds, and the Reds have had some injury problems. Gary Reedus, Dan Dreesen.
And the first pitch of the game, Reedus hits it in the air to center. It's up there. It'll be up there for a while. And Mookie Wilson drifting back makes the catch. So Gary Reedus, on the first pitch of the game, flies out to center field.
No chance of it raining after that. I'll tell you, if that thing didn't bring rain, no pop-up will. As we look at the umpires, Dana DeMuth behind the plate, Terry Tate at first, Charlie Williams at second, and Jerry Dale at third. Boy, that ball was up there.
It was up there a lot. Hang time was about a minute, I think. There's Dwayne Walker. Walker with 7 home runs, 20 runs batted in, hitting .304. In this series, he's 2 for 11. And he's hit one of his home runs against the Mets. And the fastball by Dwight Gooden, a called strike. Gooden has averaged 10.7 strikeouts a ball game in his major league career. and the comparable records of the two ball clubs. Mets about hit the Cincinnati Reds by 11 points as a team. Again, the fastball, it's fouled back out of play.
The one nice thing about Dwight Gooden this year is that he hasn't appeared to get caught up in all the strikeout mania here at Shea Stadium. Every time he gets 2 strikes on a hitter, as you hear in the background, the crowd, they want strikeouts. Not only with Gooden, but with every Met pitcher.
2 strikes to count. And strike 3. So Dwight Gooden gets his first strikeout of the night. And there it is, the first K of the night.
And this is where Dwight Gooden is awfully tough. That high-riding fastball around the letters. If I were an opposing hitter, I would try to make Dwight Gooden get the ball down, but that's easier said than done because the high fastball right in your eyes is such an inviting pitch.
It looks so good. And here's Dan Dreesen. He takes the fastball low. Say, this Bud's for the umpires. After the game, they ought to order a clean, crisp Budweiser. It'll probably be their most undisputed call of the day.
Can't deny that.
Dreesen has seen limited action against the Mets in this series, and there's a called strike. And hitting .272, 3 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Against the Mets this year, he's had 6 hits and 16 at-bats. And the fastball lined to left field. Danny Heapover hoping to hold Dreesen to a single. The throw into second base not in time, and Dreesen goes in with a stand-up double. So the first hit of the game.
And good hand action by Dan Dreesen, staying on top of that high fastball, and he rips it to left field. One of the indications of how well a pitcher is throwing is how many balls are hit the other way and how many pitches are fouled back the other way. And you'll see a lot of that with Dwight Gooden. Not only balls put in play to the opposite field, but even the foul balls will be hit the other way. He's a tough guy to pull.
And another tough guy right here is Dave Parker. 6 home runs, 46 RBIs, hitting .284. He has had 29 multiple hit games, 2 or more hits. Mets play Parker straight away. He is not a pull hitter. And the fastball for ball 1. Parker playing out his option, signed with the Cincinnati Reds. He is now playing in his hometown. Of course, he had his glory years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Had back-to-back years where he led the National League in hitting. Hitting .333 against the Mets in this series. Fastball hit to the second baseman. And Wally Backman has it. The throw to first base retires his side. So 1 hit for the Reds, 1 strikeout for Gooden, 1 man left on base. And the score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Reds nothing, the Mets coming up. Now here's Oster at second, Foley at short, Krenchicki at third. Reedus, Walker, and Parker in the outfield. Goulden will be catching, and on the mound, Mario Soto. Soto with a record of 9-1. He has won 2 against the Mets this year. He has an earned run average of 2.48, 48 walks, 99 strikeouts, and 123 innings. Soto has never lost to the New York Mets. He has a lifetime record of 7-0 against the Mets.
So the Mets will be trying to get on the board for the first time career against Soto. Backman leading off. Mookie Wilson, the center fielder, batting second. Keith Hernandez at first will hit third. Darryl Strawberry in right, batting fourth. Hubie Brooks with a big home run last night will bat fifth. Danny Heap in left field, spelling George Foster. Mike Fitzgerald once again behind the plate, batting seventh. And Ron Gardenhire, who's been on a mini tear, shortstop, batting eighth. And Dwight Gooden, a pretty good hitting pitcher, batting ninth.
And Wally Backman, the leadoff batter, hitting .280 for the year. His on-base percentage, .362. He's had 29 walks, 63 base hits. Wally Backman. And Soto with a fastball, and it's called a ball. Soto with an outstanding fastball. He's up in the 90s. He also has an off-speed pitch that's as good as anything that you want to see. Fastball that's popped up to shallow left field. Gary Reedus, the left fielder, under it. And Wally Backman is out.
Mario Soto throws a high riding fastball also, and like Dwight Gooden, you have to make him get the ball down. You mentioned that changeup that he has. That is a self-taught changeup, and he holds it back in the palm of his hand. He calls it a straight change, but in effect, it's a palm ball. The difference is he doesn't show any fingers when he throws it. A lot of times you can pick that pitch up if you show those 4 fingers.
Fingers off the ball, sticking up in the air. And here's Mookie Wilson. Mookie hitting .283. An idea about bunting, takes for a ball. Mookie with 5 home runs, 23 runs batted in. In his series against Cincinnati, he has had 4 hits and 12 times up. Fastball in the hole, off of the ground. And Dreesen gets an arm on it, but that's all he can do, and Mookie gets a base hit.
Looked like Dan Dreesen, instead of his first step being a half step, he took a full step and almost overran the ball. As a result, it hit his wrist and bounced over towards second base. You remember I was telling you about Gene Mott? When I made the switch to third base, it was an aborted switch, I might add, because I didn't play there very many times. He said when a fielder has to cross over, they're better off catching the ball in the web. That's an interesting thing, because when it hits the heel of the hand, that ball can carry him and shoot off like it's hit something hard, and usually it does. It hits the heel of the hand. That's what it did then.
Now Keith Hernandez, a batter. Keith hitting .309, 7 home runs, 43 runs batted in, and Soto starts him off with a changeup. Back on May 12th, Mario Soto had a no-hit, no-run game with 2 men out in the 9th inning. He needed 1 more out for a no-hitter. Throw to first base, Mookie back, and he didn't get it. George Hendrick homered off of a slider and broke up his no-hit, no-run game. Later on, Cincinnati won the game 2-1 in the 9th. There goes Mookie, a big jump. No chance at all, and the throw into center field. Mookie on to third. And the Mets have a runner at third base with 1 man out on the steal and the error by Brad Gooden.
Well, this is how you have to approach Mario Soto. You have to play a running game because he's not going to give up too many hits. This ball almost decapitated the shortstop, Tom Foley. Watch it come up. Boom. Don't usually wear a glove around your neck. And it's going to be a throwing error on catcher Brad Goulden.
Mets won the first game of this series on a throwing error by the catcher Brad Goulden. Tried to pick a runner off at first base and threw it in the right field.
And then last night in the second game, Dan Billardello had a throwing error in the 9th inning that led to the winning run.
Now Keith Hernandez hitting with the infield in, a 2-strike count. And the fastball inside, 1-2. Soto has had 7 complete games, but he has not had a shutout this year.
Had 3 last year and led the league in complete games last year with 18. Second in victories with 17. Second in Ks with 242. Second in innings pitched with 273.
And Hernandez is struck out. That was the change of pace off speed pitch right there, and Keith over the top of it.
Not often you see Keith Hernandez look this bad in a strikeout. He may have his hacks. Did you see he does swing right over the top of it, as you said. Good change up from Mario Soto.
So now 2 men out. The infield drops back, and the Mets have Darryl Strawberry at the plate. Darryl hitting .261 with 10 home runs, 36 RBIs. And the fastball for ball 1.
Opening day, Mario Soto beat the Mets 8-1. The only run scored on a first pitch home run by Darryl Strawberry. His first time up this year.
1 ball, no strikes, no score. And that's ball 2, 2-0. On deck batter, Hubie Brooks standing by. Soto working from the windup with a runner at third. And the fastball is missed. 2 balls and a strike. Strawberry 3 for 12 in this series. 6 for 21 against Cincinnati for the year. And the fastball fouled back out of play.
That was it right there, Ralph. He had a good pitch to hit right there.
Fastball up. And Mel Stoudemire talking with Davy Johnson. From Johnson's putting his hands together, it has to do something with Soto's pitching motion. 2-2. And again, the fastball fouled back.
Keith Hernandez strikeout, by the way, we were told from Steve Zabriskie, was his 100th of the season. He is 4th in the National League in strikeouts. Nolan Ryan's 3rd. Gooden is number 2, and Valenzuela leads the league.
Strike 3 and goodbye. So Soto strikes out 2, gives up a base hit. There was 1 error and 1 left at 3rd. And the score at the end of 1. The Reds nothing, the Mets over the Cubs, with the Cubs losing to San Francisco today, 7-2. But the Mets will have to win here tonight to stay in first place. They are just percentage points ahead of the Cubs. Both sides got a runner in scoring position in the first, and now we go to the top of the second, and Wayne Krenchicki will be the leadoff batter. Krenchicki hitting .239, 4 home runs, 8 runs batted in, and a base hit to right field. Krenchicki not wasting any time, jumping on that first pitch, and that's the second hit off Gooden.
And both pitches have been high fastballs, and that's usually the one that hitters swing through off of Dwight Gooden. It might be an early sign that he's not doesn't have his real good fastball tonight.
But the other thing, Tim, and you'd appreciate this as a catcher, he has yet to show them the curveball.
Yeah,
they don't know what his curve is.
That's right.
And when that curve comes up there, which is a beauty, that makes that fastball a little tougher to hit.
That's right. He hasn't really had his outstanding curveball the last 3 or 4 ball games. And when he doesn't have his good curveball, his off-speed pitch is a straight change. It's not a Mario Soto straight change, but certainly more than adequate.
Now Brad Gooden, the batter. And the first pitch, a called strike, and there it was. Average of 184 for Brad, 4 home runs, 20 runs batted in. He's 2 for 7 against the Mets. Much traveled Brad Goulden.
Originally with the Dodgers. He's over with the Yankees.
And another breaking ball, and the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Most power pitchers do not have as good a curveball from a stretch position as they do from a windup position. If you remember that game in Philadelphia 2 starts ago, he was hurt in the 5th inning on breaking balls, 3 breaking balls from the stretch position. The reason for that, they can't push off that back leg as effectively.
So to first base. Krenchicki back. One ball, 1 strike. The runner going. The ball fouled back out of play. So Krenchicki, who has not had a stolen base this year, running with the pitch. Gooden is a very tough man to hit and run against.
Oh, man. So is Soto. You got 2 guys out there tonight who throw high heat. And to put that ball in play on the ground is very difficult. Even though that was a hit-and-run situation, the pitcher also comes into play when a manager's going to put it in. And I agree totally that Gooden is not a good guy upon which to hit and run.
Now the curveball, and it's grounded foul. Goulden last year with Columbus in the minor leagues, that's a Yankee farm club, hit .316 with 9 home runs. He at one time was traded for a player to be named later, and then he became the player to be named later, going back to the Yankees. One and 2 the count. And a great curveball right there. So the Dwight Gooden gets his 2nd strikeout. And he now has gone to the curve.
Talk about a yacker. Woo! That ball fell off a table. Starts off right below the letters and ends up. Watch where Mike Fitzgerald catches the ball. Oh, man. Talk about a downer. Tough pitch.
Dwight doing something right there he can't do. Went to his mouth on the 3rd part of the mound.
That's right.
Got away with it. It should have been called ball 1, and now the fastball fouled back. You can do that on the grass, but not on that pitching mound. Ron Oster, the batter, and he's 1 for 7 in this series. He's 1 for 18 against the Mets all season long, hitting just .210 with no home runs and 15 RBI.
Checking there, Ralph, to see that Ron Gardenhire will be covering on a double play ball. Ball back to Gooden. The shortstop covers. He's got an easier throw to first.
And the pitch almost hits Oster, and the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ron checking out the signs from the third base coach, Joe Sparks. Tommy Helms, the coach at first for the Cincinnati Reds, a former Cincinnati Red player.
He could play a little bit, too.
He had a little blood and guts out there.
You talk about turn a double play. He did it as courageously as anybody who's ever played.
And a throw to first base.
Of course, Mazeroski's the guy that you think about in turning a double play, sticking that big, about 23-inch thigh out there. I think his left thigh was about 8 inches bigger than his right one. At least it felt like that when you ran into it. It was like running into a tree trunk.
1 ball, 1 strike. Again, a throw to first base. Mazeroski was at the Old Timers game Monday night in Washington, D.C.
Had some quick hands, didn't he?
He really had quick hands, and he had a quick bat against the Yankees in 1960. His home run won the 7th game for Pittsburgh.
How about the losses in that series for Pittsburgh?
15-2, 17-1. But they won the big one. They won the 4th game.
Yep.
Now the count at 2-1. There's the strikeout race. Valenzuela on top, 128. Dwight with 127. Ryan, 102. Soto now over the 100 mark at 101, and Carlton at 92. Two balls and a strike. Gooden usually works at a faster pace than this. Fastball hit through the middle. Gardenhire cuts it off, throws to Backman. The throw on the first base is not in time, as Krenchicki really barreled in to Backman at second base.
Well, the one thing that a ball like this, that's hit like this, does, it gives the guy on first a chance to take the second baseman out. Krenchicki does a super job there. Hernandez tries to cheat off the bag. Watch this Krenchicki going into Backman. He barrels into him. Clean play and a good play. And while he can't get as much on it as he would normally, but those high hoppers around second base give that runner a chance to get down there. And Krenchicki did a good job of taking Backman out on that play.
Now the batter will be Tom Foley. Tom with a home run in this series against the Mets. Hitting at .268, 3 home runs, 19 runs batted in. And the fastball for ball 1. Foley, a rather unusual type player. He was a left-handed throwing quarterback and a right-handed throwing shortstop. That's quite a combination. One ball, no strikes. Dwight working a much slower game than he normally does. He usually gets it and throws it.
You think long, you think wrong.
Now the 1-0 pitch, and he misses with a fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. Foley 4 for 7 against the Mets. Earlier this year, he was playing shortstop, and Concepcion was playing third. Concepcion complained to the management. Had a good argument. He said, if I'm going to be playing third, I won't be playing in the major leagues very long. If I can't play short, it's all over.
He's a possible Hall of Fame shortstop.
5-time Golden Glove winner. And a hard smash to right, a base hit. Ball slowed down by Hernandez. Oster goes to second base and holds there. Strawberry gets to it. And now runners at first and second base with 2 men out.
I think Oster made the right move at second base. With 1 out, you'd be inclined to take a shot at third base. Because with 1 out, you're more inclined to take a chance on making that second out at third, but you don't take nearly as much of a chance when there's 2 out or nobody out.
And Mario Soto, the batter. He's hitting .213 for the year with 1 home run and 3 runs batted in. He's also had 2 doubles. So he shows a pretty good bat. No score in the game. We're in the top of the second inning with 2 men away. And the first pitch to Soto. Fastball swung on and missed. He put some air in the ballpark with that swing, but it was way behind the pitch.
He probably learned that swing from his pal down the road, San Pedro de Macorís, Joaquin Andujar. He looked like Joaquin.
That's one of Joaquin's type swings. Incidentally, he's injured and might not make the All-Star squad because of the injury. Good curveball. Strike 2. White has averaged 10.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. The all-time record for a season, Sam McDowell, who averaged 10.7.
Dwight Gooden wears a chain around his neck, and I think that chain came undone. He put what was on the chain in his back pocket. That's when you throw hard, when you knock your chain off.
I've heard of guys pulling somebody's chain, but that's the first time I've seen pulling the chain on yourself. Seems to be bothered by it. The lack of it.
He does. He's got another chain around his neck, so.
2 strikes to count. The K's go up around the ballpark. Here's the pitch. And the curveball in the dirt. Good block by Fitzgerald, and the runner at second base, Oster, has to hold there. Behind him, Foley at first. Gooden has pitched 1 shutout. As you look at a Met fan, there's the straw hat we were talking about.
The same thing. There's a straw hat. We were talking about throwing the straw hats out on the field.
Labor Day, yeah.
The end of summer.
Don't see anybody wear those things anymore.
That remark probably is going to bring back straw hats.
I hope so. Nothing like sailing the straw hat out on the field on Labor Day. 1-2 pitch, way high, 2-2. Gooden's 2 best games, his shutout against the Dodgers on May 11th, 2-0 shutout. He struck out 11, and he came back against the Dodgers on May 25th and struck out 14 and beat the Dodgers 2-1. His 2 complete games this year. 2-2 the count. Curveball, strike 3. So Gooden gets his 3rd strikeout. And with that 3rd strikeout, he ties Valenzuela for the National League lead. In the inning, 2 hits, 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 1.5. The Reds nothing, the Mets nothing. And it looks like Tommy Agee.
That is correct. It is.
Tommy Agee out here. Of course, he was a part of the 1969 team.
What a catch in right center field against
2 of them. One in left center and one in right
that's
center.
Right. Tommy Agee was the toughest guy that ever slid into me at home plate, and that includes Cleon Jones, his teammate, and Willie Mays. Willie Mays was kind of nasty himself, but Tommy Agee, the thing is, he came in straight. And Hubie Brooks has gone straight up as far as his batting average is concerned, and he throws the bat. Oh, boy. Fastball, Brooks threw his bat at it. Came uncorked, and Davey Concepcion, a very nice man, he wanted to put some pine tar on it for him.
He's going to stick it up for him. Speaking of Tommy Agee, I'll never forget the time when he was stealing home and Cleon Jones was the batter, and Jones didn't know he was coming, and Jones swung at the ball and hit a line drive right over Agee's head, and he was about 6 feet away from home plate. You think his eyes didn't pop out then?
Ground ball left side, tough play by Krenchicki, and he makes it nicely, 1 away.
But Tommy Agee, an outstanding ball player for the Mets in that 69 year. Right here, the replay, Krenchicki makes a good play to get to that ball, and then he gets it over to first base in time. Hubie is not a fast runner.
Tommy Agee, a lot of people don't know this. He was the Rookie of the Year with Eddie Stanky's White Sox in 1966. Then came to the Mets, 68. Danny Heap, the batter. Danny batting .267. He has 1 home run and 5 RBIs. Last year on May 6th, he had a home run. Probably the best game that the Mets played last year. If you remember, Dave Kingman tied it in the bottom of the 9th with 2 out and a runner on. The Mets trailing by 2. A down and in fastball. Kingman hit it out, and the game was eventually won by a home run
by George Foster.
George Foster.
Soto is prone to throwing home run pitches.
He has 12 this year. This ball hits sharply to Oster, who bobbles, picks it up, and gets Heap.
Talking about early Mets, Tommy Agee, of course, in '69. What year was it? 1962 or 1963? Rod Keneal, playing center field, charged a line drive you hit in 1963. It went over his head, and you had an inside the park grand slam home run.
First grand slam that I hit. I didn't have many home runs, but I did have the first grand slam was a inside the Parker. There was no doubt about it either. Once Keneal, you know, in the Polo Grounds, the ball could run forever.
483 feet to the center field gates. And I understand that even you could make it on that.
Yeah, that's right. The piano and all. 1-0 to Mike Fitzgerald, batting .227. Right on the corner, 1-1.
Now, we won't let that ride because our colleague right here, Tim McCarver, led the league in 3 base hits. You got to be able to run to do that.
Well, you got to play in a fortunate ballpark, too. And that was at St. Louis ballpark, and that's designed for those extra base hits. Cardinals led the league in triples last year with 63.
Of course, they had a couple of guys that could fly, McGee and
Lonnie
two
Smith,
others.
Ozzie Smith. 1-2 to Mike Fitzgerald. Fastball inside.
You know, Roger Angel chronicalized your grand slam home run. He said Rod Keneal came thundering in, and Rod Keneal went thundering back.
Great ballpark, the Polo Ground. Little cue shot down the right field line, and it's foul. So we'll do it again. 2-2 to Fitzgerald with 2 out. No score, bottom of the 2nd. Mario Soto against Dwight Gooden. I was going to say, with Soto giving up 12 home runs this year, most guys who throw a high fastball do give up a lot of home runs, but on the other hand, Dwight Gooden with only 2 home runs yielded to Pedro Guerrero and Andre Dawson. Oh, good change-up on the outside. 3rd strikeout for Soto as the Mets go in order here in the 2nd, and after 2, no score. Now a word from Express Mail. Top of the order for the Cincinnati Reds. Gary Reedus will lead it off. He had a tremendously high fly ball on the first pitch back in the 1st inning, deep to Mookie Wilson on the warning track in center field. Had he leveled out on that baby a little bit firmer, that ball would have gone a long way.
Tim McCarver, do you know what a palindrome is?
A palindrome?
Yeah, is that the way you pronounce it?
Palindrome.
Spell the name both ways?
Yes, I do. Yes. Uh-huh.
Like Toby Hara, his last name spells both ways. It spells the same thing.
Right.
Well, what is Reedus' name spelled backwards? It spells the name of a player.
Suter.
Right, Pete Suter, name of a player. What do you call that?
S-U-D-E-R. I don't know. I guess you call it that if you spell a guy's name backwards, it spells the name of another player.
What was that fellow, the comedian, Professor Backwards? He could handle that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the wave has started here at Shea Stadium. Starts as a ripple, and then as the game goes on, it becomes a big wave.
Swing and a miss by Gary Reedus, 1-2. You play against Pete Suter? He
played against Pete
back
Suter,
in the 40s and 50s, didn't he? I remember the name. I don't know a lot about his career.
Good third baseman, good hitter.
We received a letter recently that Pete Suter is the only guy in the history of the major leagues, I think that's what the letter said, whose name spelled backwards, or Reedus is the only guy whose name spelled backwards as another player.
Right.
And a nasty curveball for strike 3, the 4th strikeout for Dwight Gooden.
And Gooden takes over the National League strikeout lead with that strikeout. That's 129. And Gooden will go into the All-Star game as the National League strikeout leader. 129 for Gooden. Valenzuela has 128.
The record for rookie strikeouts held by Herb Score in 1955. He struck out 245. I think Grover Cleveland Alexander struck out 219 back in 1911, I believe, wasn't it?
Back in that early stage, yes.
Uh-huh. How about his first year in the league? This ball hit ripped down the right field line. It's going to be extra bases. Strawberry trying to hold Walker to a double and does. But the Reds have another runner in scoring position. The 3rd inning in a row that they've done so. Dwayne Walker, 6th double of the year. Well, Channel 9 has a triple play of action for you Sunday afternoon, starting at 5 after the ball game. Robert Urich is that ace investigator. Dan Tana in Vegas. Then at 6, Jack Lord heads that special island force in Hawaii 5-0. At 7, Robert Wagner and Eddie Albert add a twist to crime solving on Switch. Oh, what a lineup every Sunday afternoon right here on Channel 9. The batter, Dan Dreesen. He doubled his first time up. Fastball misses. Talking about that Grover Cleveland Alexander's first year in the big leagues.
Well, he had some great ones. 16 shutouts one year.
It's a record, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Bob Gibson had 13 in 68.
The year he had an earned run average of 1.12.
Cardinal team in 68 had 31 shutouts.
That's when they lowered the mound.
The next year.
That's right.
The year Denny McClain won 31, too. And, oh, boy.
Where was it? Come on, Dana.
Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire, calls this a ball.
It goes right through the strike zone from top to bottom. You've never seen a curveball that big.
Well, you know, it does fool an umpire. In fairness to the umpire behind the plate, usually if it fools the hitter, it fools the umpire. 2-1 to Dreesen. He fouls back a fastball, 2-2.
Dreesen makes his home in Hilton Head, or at least did, South Carolina.
Led the league in walks back in 1980 with 93. Has never won a Gold Glove, but he is probably the best right-handed fielding first baseman in the league. Walker at second, 1 away. Fastball, he lays off of it, 3-2.
Made just 4 errors in 1983. National League records held by Steve Garvey, who made just 3 errors in 162 games in 1976. The Major League record for a first baseman, 1 error. And that was in 152 games in 1921 by Stuffy McInnes. 1 error all year at first base.
Stuffy McInnes.
Household word.
Payoff pitch on the way. Curveball and a beauty, bounced up the middle, base hit. Walker's going to come around to score, and Dan Dreesen hit a tough pitch up the middle, a 38 hopper that found its way through there, and the Reds lead 1-0.
Well, Dreesen didn't hit it hard, but he certainly hit it in the right spot. You hit them where they ain't, according to Wee Willie Keeler, and this was a chopper up the middle. Nobody could get to it. Bachman tried to get there to knock it down. That would have held the run at third. But Walker, who had trouble rounding the bag at third base, comes in to score the first run of the ball game.
Looked like Walker thought that ball would have been played, and he was going right to the bag. Or would have been playable, I should say. And Joe Sparks waved him around. The Reds now with 5 hits. The Mets with only 1. And the Reds with the lead 1-0.
He hit quite a curveball right there.
Certainly did. 3-2 curveball. He wasn't looking for it, but Dan Dreesen has outstanding bat control, as does Dave Parker. Parker grounded to second his first time up.
We're just loosening up. Parker has really cleaned up his act. The Reds have a rule that you can't have a beard, so he had to shave his beard off. Did it voluntarily, no argument.
High heater, 1-1 to Parker. Parker has only walked 16 times this year, 5 times intentionally, and 324 at bats.
He was a member of that lumber club of the Pittsburgh Pirates when they had all those big bats.
Swing and a miss, and to give you an idea about why they call it the Lumber Company, the Pittsburgh Pirate lineup has drawn the fewest walks in the National League this year, 225. And Ralph, I think, you know, I used the word epidemic. I think that is the proper word for guys in the big leagues who don't know the strike zone now.
They're from that Bale and Whale school. Just let that bat go.
1-2 to Parker. Curveball, foul tip. Gets away from Fitzgerald. So we'll go back and do it again. Dwight Gooden makes his home in Tampa, Florida. Went to Hillsborough High School down there. And I think you picked up on that nicely. Dwight is really pitching probably as slowly as he has all year. He's working very tentatively.
Well, Cincinnati doesn't really scare you. They have the worst batting average, team batting average in the National League at 241. They have hit 57 home runs.
They're second in the league in stolen bases, behind the Cardinals, who lead with 97. Fastball tight, 2-2.
Well, that was in a beautiful spot. If you're going to get to Parker, you have to get to him high and inside. Appears that Dwight either has taken his chain off or is missing it.
If he took it off, he put it down in his shirt near his waist. He's going to have to, when he goes in, he lost that chain, it appeared, back in the second inning, and he's going to have to do something about that. You can't be concerned about your chain, but your change. Breaking ball, and it gets Dave Parker. 5th strikeout for Dwight Gooden.
Well, that chain might be a little like Samson's hair. Maybe that's the answer to a success. There you are, the big curveball in the dirt. And Parker chases it down. Parker does not take many pitches.
Better a chain than Delilah. Here's Wayne Krenchicki. Krenchicki 1 for 1. Dwight's hair's short enough, isn't it?
That's right.
Beautiful breaking ball, 0-1 to Wayne Krenchicki.
Krenchicki, the man who tripled in the 1-0 game won by the Mets in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. He tripled with no one out. And then Darling struck out the next 3 batters. All looking. Picked up his 10th victory.
He has 5 strikeouts. He has walked no one, but he trails 1-0. Fastball is high, 1-1. Dwight, a marvelous basketball player in high school, earned the name of Dr. J, a tribute to the great Dr. J with the Philadelphia 76ers, Julius Erving. Another fastball misses, 2-1.
I think we're going to have to change that letter from J to K. Dr. K.
Dr. K. All right, I like it. He has strung up more than any pitcher in the National League now with 130. Valenzuela trailing with 128. Before that pitch, it's strike 2, 2-2. Before that pitch, you saw Mike Fitzgerald point to his left shoulder. He was telling Gooden to keep that shoulder in. And if there's one thing that pitching and hitting are alike in, it's keeping that front shoulder in. In that respect, they're both alike. You've got to keep that front shoulder in when you throw the ball and when you hit it. Breaking ball. Fly ball to right field. Strawberry there, and he makes the catch. So the Mets are out, but the Reds are on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left after 2.5. Cincinnati 1, New York 0. For the 3rd inning here. 1-0 ball game. Cincinnati leading here at Shea Stadium. The Mets on this homestand are 7-3. They've won 7 of their last 8 games, and 6 of those 7 wins have been by 1 run. Also have won 23 of their last 35. Here's Ron Gardenhire, and a fastball is low for Mario Soto, 1-0.
Mets on this homestand have had 10 games in, and they have won 7 of the 10.
Fastball knocks him back away from the plate.
And Soto has been suspended twice in this series. I shouldn't say in this series, in this year. Got in a big fight down against the Atlanta Braves for knockdown pitches.
Suspended twice for 5 days. Ball hit well to left field, but Gary Reedus is there, and he makes the catch. Gardenhire just missed it, didn't he?
Put a little hang time on that one.
Boy, it's oh so close. When a hitter fouls the ball back as compared to hitting it out of the ballpark, hitting a rocket somewhere. And Dwight Gooden gets a big hand as he steps in there. Gooden batting 143 with 1 RBI and no extra base hits. 5 for 35. 1 away here in the 3rd. Reds lead 1-0. Foul back, 0-1.
Well, the scouting report has gone to the Cincinnati Reds. The 3rd baseman's playing in fairly tight to guard against a possible bunt. Gooden has bunted for base hits.
He has outstanding speed. Marvelous athlete. Youngest player ever selected in the '84 All-Star game. All-Star game started back in 1933 at Chicago's Comiskey Park, I believe. Last year celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Summer Classic.
And Babe Ruth hit a home run in that All-Star game.
Fred Lynn, the first Grand Slammer last year in All-Star competition. 2-1 to Dwight Gooden. And he rips another one foul. 2-2.
1934, the next year, was the year that Carl Hubble struck out the 5 Hall of Famers in succession. Phil Dickey got a base hit, and then Gomez struck out. And Gomez was mad at Dickey because he got the base hit. He said, I could have been a part of that record. I could have been the 7th man struck out if you'd have struck out.
The audacity to get ahead, right?
That's right.
Just shows you left-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers with screwballs are tougher.
That's right. Of course, Dickey was a great hitter.
3-2 pitch is inside. Soto loses Dwight Gooden. And Dwight takes the stroll down to first base.
In the National League, the Astros and Expos, no score in the first. The Braves defeated Philadelphia 5-2. That's a final. Pittsburgh and the Padres later on. Cardinals and Dodgers later, and the Giants defeated the Cubs 7-2. That puts the Mets in first place, but they have to win here tonight to stay in first.
Wally Backman, the batter, he flied to left field his first time up. Soto has given up only 1 hit. He has struck out 3 and now has walked 1 as Dwight Gooden is the runner at first base. Is that a hidden ball trick? Dreesen just threw the ball back. You can't hide the ball on timeout.
Well, right? That's going to say it doesn't work if you tag him off the bag when there's timeout.
Nor can you hide the ball when the pitcher's on the rubber. Otherwise, it's a balk. Another fly ball to left field, and Gary Reedus again under it. 2 out. The batter's going to be Mookie Wilson.
You know, we're talking about Dwight Gooden and the fact that he has struck out 10 or more batters in 6 games in his major league career. Soto has struck out 10 or more batters in 23 games so far. Of course, Nolan Ryan, the all-time leader, with 150 games where he has struck out 10 or more.
That is unbelievable. Also, with Nolan Ryan, he has struck out 15 or more 21 times.
That's even more unbelievable.
It really is. I agree with you. And Mookie Wilson wants to bunt as Krenchicki crept in.
And also, Nolan Ryan has had 5 no-hit, no-run games.
Only man in the history of the game to accomplish that feat. Sandy Koufax with 4 no-hit, no-run games. Uh-oh! This ball might be out of here. Way back. Stay fair. And it is. Home run, Mookie Wilson. And the Mets lead 2-1. Oh, baby. That ball was smoked.
Mookie Wilson with his 6th home run of the year, putting the Mets on top by a score of 2-1. Fans want him for that ovation. They come out, acknowledge the ovation. He's just going to enjoy it. There it is. Last year, Mookie had 7 home runs all season. Boy, he jumped all over this one. And the only question was, would it stay fair? It hits the screen.
So Mookie Wilson with his 6th home run of the year. Paul Wainer would have been proud of that swing, Ralph Kiner. Talk about a belly button.
He really got that stomach turned around and got his hands through the ball.
That was Paul Wainer, little poison style of hitting. He said you got to belly button that ball. And Mookie Wilson belly buttons one that hits the screen. Mets up 2-1. Hernandez 1-0. 1-1 to Keith. Keith struck out his first time up.
Well, we were pointing out that Soto is prone to giving up home run balls. That's the 13th he has thrown up this year.
Ground ball, right side, fair ball. Went right over the bag. So Hernandez is out as Dreesen takes it himself, but the Mets on the board. A 2-run home run by Mookie Wilson. A costly walk to Dwight Gooden, and the Mets lead 2-1 after 3. Now a word from Budweiser.
Wilson's longest home run that he's hit. It was really charged out of here. And now as we go to the top of the 4th, here's Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks, Ralph, and hi, everybody. Brad Goulden leads it off against Dwight Gooden. And Dwight now out on front after giving up a run in the top of the 3rd on Mookie's 2-run home run, 2-1 New York.
You know, Steve, you've heard Lowell Paps. He used to announce the ball games in Houston.
Yes.
He was announcing one time on the play-by-play when Jimmy Wynn hit one of the longest home runs ever hit in the Astrodome. And his sponsor was another sponsor other than Budweiser. And when this ball was hit, we'll get to the story in a minute, he was so surprised that he says, there's a deep drive to the outfield, and he says, and it hit the Budweiser sign. He had forgotten that they weren't sponsored by Budweiser. But you know where that Budweiser sign was out there. Oh, what a drive.
Yeah, I remember listening to Lowell when I was going to school at the University of Houston.
Jimmy Wynn was called the toy cannon, and pound for pound probably hit the ball farther than anybody.
That was a perfect nickname. Because he could rocket him out of there for a little guy. Ground ball up the middle. Gardenhire won't get it. Base hit number 6 for Cincinnati as Goulden leads off the 4th inning.
Don't miss the talent of the fine young Met pitching staff tomorrow when the Mets host the Reds for the final of this 5-game series. Game time is at 1:30 p.m. right here on your station for sports, WOR-TV. That will be the Mets' 81st game. Then they break for the All-Star break, so the Mets will have played half their season as they complete tomorrow's ball game.
Well, it's supposed to be the halfway mark, right?
Right on.
Ron Oster, still with only 1 hit against New York this year, reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. And again, Dwight will be pitching out of the stretch, and he has had to do that the majority of this ball game, and it appears to be affecting him. Ball 1. I think if you go back and look at Dwight's last start, as compared to tonight. You could see the difference right away in the first inning in the way in which he's throwing the ball.
Last start, he worked 8 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits while striking out 12. Had better command of his fastball in his last start.
Beautiful curveball, however. It's 1-1. Now, Dwight likes it when the weather is warm, and it's a cool evening tonight. He told me that it takes him longer to feel like, at least, he's loosened up. Part of that could be psychological, but when you're from Tampa, Florida, tonight could be classified as a cool evening. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And again, he misses with his fastball. When he has been getting the fastball over, it's been in the fat part of the strike zone, and that accounts for the 6 hits that Cincinnati has.
Ordinarily, he has very good control, and in the clubhouse before the ball game, the Cincinnati players were talking about how impressive he has looked to them when they've seen him on television. And one of the things they've been impressed with is the fact that he has an idea about where he wants to put the ball and that he's able to do it. But tonight has not been as impressive in that regard. And now Mike Fitzgerald's out to talk to him.
Last 2 times out, he has given up 8 hits. The only time that he has given up 8 hits in a ball game this year in the major leagues.
He lost the first game to the Philadelphia Phillies and then won the second ball game where he gave up 8 hits against the Astros. And other than that, 6 is the most that he has given up in any other start this year, win or lose. And he's given up 6 so far here tonight. And again, he's taking an unusual amount of time. Ground ball up the middle. Backman has to wait for the high hop. They get the lead runner, but that's all.
Gardner had no chance at all to pick up the double play, and he almost did not stay on the bag at second. You got to make sure you get 1 in this situation. And there was no chance to get the double play, so make this one sure. Gardenhire trying to go for the double play, and that's not too wise. An umpire at second base, if you're not on the bag, can say safe.
And it has happened usually, and as is the case with this play where Gardenhire really was not on the bag. If the ball beats the runner, the umpire will call him out anyway, in this case Charlie Williams, on the neighborhood play. So 1 away in the inning, and Oster at first for Tom Foley. Foley singled to right back in the second inning.
Neighborhood play made famous by Gil Hodges when he played first base for the Dodgers. He was never on the bag when he caught the ball, just in the neighborhood of first base.
Pitch out. Oster not running.
In the American League, A's and Brewers just starting. Yankees and Twins just starting. Angels and Red Sox rained out. Mariners 8, the Blue Jays 4, Tigers and Rangers just starting.
On the pitch out, 1 ball, the count to Tom Foley. Foley has a home run in this series, and the single tonight. He's 2 for 5. And again, the fastball misses. 2-0.
The Orioles 6, the Royals 2. That ball game in the first inning. Indians nothing, the White Sox nothing. Oh, 6-2 doubleheader. Okay. Orioles won the first game 6-2.
Oster chased back. Oster has only 2 stolen bases. Tom Foley, incidentally, has not had many at-bats against the Mets this year. He's only been up 7 times against New York, but hitting .571.
And one of those, a home run in last night's ball game.
Good fastball at the knees. 2 balls, 1 strike. Dwight looks like he's starting to perspire now.
History of Dwight Gooden since he's been with the Mets is that he adds on as he goes along, and that's usually the case with all great pitchers. They get tougher as the game gets longer.
Ground ball. Hernandez with a great stop, but he throws it away. Fitzgerald backing up. Oster will not have an opportunity to advance to third. Hernandez was a little surprised when he found it in his glove and then made a bad throw, and it's going to be a rare error probably on Keith.
Keith has been charged with an error on this, and that will be his third error this year. But he tried to throw from a very difficult position after making an outstanding catch, and he couldn't get the ball to Gooden at first. Let's look at it again. Watch the catcher, Fitzgerald. He comes over to back up this play. Now the great catch by Hernandez, but he turns and he's throwing as he's turning, and he throws it away. Fitzgerald gets to it and holds the runner at second base. Oster stopping there.
First error for New York. Cincinnati with one as well.
You know, that's kind of a tough error, as he made the great stop on the ball. It would have been a base hit anyway. And then because of the fact that he's such an outstanding defensive fielder, he caught the ball and then gets the error on the throw.
You're right. Most first basemen wouldn't even have had a chance to make the throw.
That's why fielding percentages are not very good at determining whether a player is an outstanding fielder.
Mario Soto, the batter.
Have to go one more dimension and take in chances.
Yeah, that shows how many balls you're getting to, especially among infielders. Soto called out on strikes his first time up. Runners at first and second, one out.
Mets looking for the sacrifice, and it's bunted foul.
The Mets did not have the rotation play on, however, as they would like to pick up, if possible, the second to first double play. But that, of course, is going to depend on if Soto bunts the ball and where he might bunt the ball.
I'd hate to be bunting against Gooden.
He's such a good athlete.
And he throws so hard. If he throws that ball at you when you square around, you got nowhere to go. Nowhere to hide.
Mario says if he can't pitch inside, you got to forget it.
They take the bunt off. Soto, a good hitter. He's had a home run this year, and he's driven in 3 runs. He's had 10 base hits, and he's also had 2 doubles. So it was surprising to me he was even bunting on that first pitch. 1 man out, runners at first and second.
Now the count 1-1.
This could be a decoy. It is.
He's really ducking away from that breaking pitch, but it misses, and it's 2-0.
Little old decoy play. Square around, make him think you're going to bunt, and then hit away.
Dwight wasn't even looking at him, though. He was checking Oster at second base.
Can't decoy a guy if he's not looking.
Blew the fastball right by him. 2-2.
Yeah, that was a Joaquin Andujar swing right there. Joaquin has hit 2 home runs this season. One of them a grand slammer. He takes that type of swing all out. Swing hard in case you get it. Woody held theory.
And the crowd cheering now with 2 strikes on Mario Soto. K number 6 for Dwight Gooden. And 2 out in the inning.
There it is again. He stays with the fastball and gets it right by Soto. He had struck out Soto on a curveball his first time up. Soto not even swinging.
And here's Gary Ritas, a late insertion into the top of the Reds lineup.
I always worry about those late insertions. Seems that they come in to haunt you.
Well, they waited till after batting practice because Ritas has been injured, and Burnrap wanted to find out if Gary felt that he was ready to go. And Gary said yes. So Eric Davis, the young rookie, is out of there, and Ritas was in there. Breaking ball is high. Ritas 0 for 2, flied high and deep to center field. In the 3rd inning, he struck out swinging.
Got to admire a ball player who volunteers to play against Gooden.
Well, Ritas has shown in his 2 years in the big leagues that he comes to play. High heat and strike 1, 1-1.
Only one man ever hit for a higher average in the minor leagues than Gary Reedus. It was a fellow named Walter Momquist, who batted .477.
And was never heard from again, I guess.
That's right. Never made it to the majors. Reedus hit .462 while playing in the Pioneer Rookie League his first year out.
Gooden steps off. The wave is making its way around Shea, and a big, big crowd here tonight. And this matchup between Gooden and Soto, a major factor. Just misses up and away. 2-1.
Well, Gooden in a very short time, putting people in the ballpark, makes you think of the matchups that Seaver had with Carlton, matchups that Carl Hubble had with Dizzy Dean. Many, many famous matchups. It seems that those great pitchers always come head-to-head. Right here it's Soto against Gooden.
Hey, we've got about 30,000 umpires here tonight, and they're making the call with every strike. A 2-2 count with 2 out and 2 on. A 2-1 New York lead. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Talk about a crescendo of noise. And we'll hear it all again now.
Gooden is built like Satchel Paige. He doesn't throw like Satchel Paige. Paige was more of a 3/4 type thrower. He dropped down a little more sidearm. But he certainly has the build of Satchel Paige.
Got those long arms and legs. Weighs a little more than Satchel, though. Satchel was even thinner than Dwight, really.
They didn't get much meal money in the days that Satchel pitched.
You know, I hit against him once.
I did, too. What'd you do?
3-2. I lined one off the left field wall.
You did?
And he glared at me all the way to second base.
He never knew who anybody's name was, but he always said, watch out for those fellows with the numbers that are low, 3, 4, and 5. Did you wear 3, 4, or 5?
Nope. I was in the 20s.
In those days, the good hitters always wore 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the low numbers. Now it doesn't exist that way.
But it was just an exhibition in my case. Runners going on 3-2, and it's hit deep, but very high. Mookie Wilson calling off Heap as they come together. Mookie makes the catch. So Gooden doesn't strike him out, but the crowd still loves it as it gets out of the inning, and the Mets still lead 2-1 in the middle of the 4th. Now here's a word from Ivory. Not only to the music over the PA system, but rocking to the beat of Dwight Gooden's pitching performance. He hasn't mowed them down, but he's leading 2-1 and facing one of the best in the National League in Mario Soto.
Soto has won 8 straight victories. And he comes into the ball game with a record of 9 wins and 1 loss.
Beat the Mets on opening day, then lost a ball game, then has won 8 straight starts since then. And Darryl Strawberry will lead it off in the bottom of the 4th against Soto. Hubie Brooks and Danny Heap to follow, with the Mets leading 2-1. The Mets have never beaten Mario Soto. He is 7-0 for his career against New York. Fastball outside for ball 1. Darryl looked at a called 3rd strike his first time up. And he drills one deep to right field. Parker going back. It's out of here. Number 11 for Darryl Strawberry. A 3-1 New York lead in the top of the 4th inning, or bottom of the 4th, I should say. And that was a patented Darryl Strawberry home run, Ralph.
Strawberry was struck out on the same pitch his first time out.
The Mets have only 3 hits off Soto. 2 of them have been home runs. Ub Brooks fouls the first one back, strike 1.
Here it is, a low fastball, and Darryl Strawberry turns it around, coming up there 95 miles an hour and 1 out 195 miles an hour.
1-1 to Hubie. Hubie coming into the game 5th in the National League in hitting with a .311 average. He grounded to third his first time up. Two and one. Now they're really rocking here at Shea. Broken bat, line drive, base hit. Hubie still has the handle as he rounds first base. Andreessen's going to put it in his pocket.
Well, they all count, and Hubie with a home run in last night's first ball game, winning the game 1-0, gets the other variety. We'll look at it again. This is what you call getting sawed off. Hits the ball near the trademark. The bat head goes out. The ball goes out. And Hubie goes to first base with a base hit.
Hubie continues red hot. They throw over. Danny Heap, who grounded to second, will be the hitter. Danny 0 for 3 in the series. In the dirt. Good stop by Goulden.
Darryl Strawberry's first home run in his major league career was off of Mario Soto.
That's right. Stan Williams, the pitching coach, coming out. And that home run by Darryl Strawberry will get George Washington High School $500 from Darryl, as he donates $500 to an area school for every home run he hits at home. We should say Darryl's first home run this season was off Mario Soto.
And also in his career.
Well, I think it was Lee Tunnell, Ralph, of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I remember that because it was a shot to left center field at Pittsburgh. 1 ball to count to Danny Heath. And again, they chase Hubie back.
Okay, now I got it. Mario Soto pitched against him in his debut and struck him out 3 times. That was it.
Then he came back on opening day this year and hit a home run.
Right.
Vindication, as it were. He's just hit another one off Mario. Hubie has called time to clean up a little bit. Again, Hubie hardly ever runs. And regardless of who the Mets play, they throw over there all the time. He only has 3 stolen bases this year. Way outside, 2-0.
That was the debut of Darryl Strawberry. That was on May the 6th, 1983, as you look at Danny Heap. And that was the game that we talked about earlier where Kingman hit the home run to tie the game with 2 men out of the 9th inning, and then Foster won it later on.
All the while, Darryl was whiffing. Now Hubie running on the hit and run down the right field line, and a fair ball. Brooks is going to be held up at third base as the throw comes into second. Hubie might have had a chance to score, but Bobby Valentine held him up just after he rounded the bag.
Well, with no one out, you have to hold him up. Heap coming to as the runner was running on the pitch. Parker throws the ball into second base, but stops Heap at first. with no one out, Valentine put the brakes on, stopping Hubie Brooks at third.
And as you said, Ralph, properly so. First and third, nobody out. A run in on Strawberry's leadoff home run. Heap's first hit in the series, and here's Mike Fitzgerald, who struck out swinging his first time up. 5 hits now for New York as they lead 3-1. Ball 1. Activity in the Cincinnati bullpen. Frank Pastore, the right-hander, up and throwing.
Cincinnati playing their infield back at short and second for the double play. They're willing to give up another run, even with Dwight Gooden on the mound against them.
That is surprising. Popped up, but it'll be out of play behind the Mets dugout. And the count 1-1.
Probably the most debated subject in baseball is when to play the infield in and when to play it back. Got to have a lot of hunches going on it.
Well, a lot does depend on the score, the time in the ball game, who the hitter is, and who the pitchers are.
All right.
And that's too low, and it's 2-1. I'll tell you, the Mets have a 10th man that they haven't had in a while this season, and that's the crowd.
It is so much easier to play before a home crowd that is a large crowd.
Popped up down the right field side, but it'll be out of play as well. And the count now 2-2. Fitzgerald in his last 5 ball games coming into tonight hitting .353.
Right here, a big spot for him. Mets leading 3-1 in a very big ball game against a very tough pitcher.
And he goes after the high hard one and fouls it out of play. So still 2-2. Way inside, and it did hit him. The bases will be loaded.
That's kind of a mixed emotion play. The ball hit him. If it had not hit him, it would have been by to the backstop, and Hubie Brooks would have been able to score from third.
Hubie was already trotting home.
So we'll have to wait and see whether that was a good break or a bad break. There it is on the replay. Soto coming inside. He just does nick the batter, Fitzgerald. Otherwise, the Mets would have had a run. And you look at Rusty Staub, who's coming out to bat for Ron Gardenhire.
Rusty Staub leading the National League in pinch hits with 11. And the bases are loaded with Brooks at third, Heap at second, and Fitzgerald at first. Still no one out. Rusty, as you see, .333, 11 for 33. No home runs, but 9 pinch hit RBIs on those 11 hits. Ground ball foul behind home plate, strike 1.
Staub being used early in this ball game, but used in the position with the bases loaded. And one of the most important things a manager can do is to use your men and not leave your best hitter on the bench when the ball game is over.
Ground ball foul outside at first. Well, a lot of times people will think of a game being decided in the late innings, and a lot of ball games are decided in the middle innings. This is a game situation, even though it's the bottom of the 4th.
Every inning has an equal value.
Rusty held up. Goulden held the ball. They want an appeal. Third base umpire Jerry Dale says no way, and that's a proper call.
It's a pitch down in the dirt. Good play on it by Goulden. Staub almost swung, but did manage to hold up. And one of the best things you can do is when you're choked up is to hold up that bat.
1-2.
Ooh.
Strike 3 called. A nasty fastball right at the knees on the outside corner, and 1 away.
Well, you don't see that very often. as Rusty doesn't swing at the fastball. It's in the strike zone. Rusty had to be looking for something else. He must have been protecting against that off-speed pitch. So that could be a very big strikeout for Soto.
And it's his 4th in the ball game. Dwight Gooden, who walked his first time up, will be the hitter with the bases still loaded and now 1 out. Rusty's shaking his head.
And again, Vern Rapp is playing his infield back for the double play in this spot at short and second.
Foul away, strike 1. I find it hard to understand. I could see where you might do it with Rusty up there since he does not run well.
There's the defensive alignment. The pitcher is the batter. And they're looking for the double play.
That's low, 1-1.
As another added stat, Cincinnati has turned only 54 double plays all year. Very low amount of double plays for the amount of games played. They've played 84 games.
Hit well to right field. Parker going back. He makes the catch, but it'll be a sacrifice fly as Hubie Brooks scores. And also tagging up and moving over to third is Danny Heath. 4-1 New York, and an RBI number 2 on the year for Gooden.
Well, Dwight Gooden trying to do it all, and he certainly did a job there. Needed to get that runner in from third base. He got a good part of the bat in the ball, drove it to deep right field. It's amazing that Parker was able to be deep enough to get to that ball, and Hubie Brooks scores easily from third, and the Mets now lead 4-1. Good job by Dwight Gooden.
Wally Backman the hitter, and Wally takes low for ball 1. Runners at first and third now with 2 out. 2 runs in the inning. Wally has flied to left both times up. And a strike call. 1-1. Danny Heath the runner at third. Mike Fitzgerald at first. Wally coming into tonight hitting .346 over his last 15 games with 8 RBIs. Way out in front of the changeup, and it's 1-2. Soto coming into tonight third in the league in earned run average at 2.48. And already through the first 4, he's given up 4 earned runs. Ground ball in the hole. Greason backhands it. Race to the bag and safe. Wally Backman's outstanding speed beats out an infield hit to drive in the 5th New York run.
Well, look at it again. Soto is late covering. Now he comes off the mound. Greason makes the play. And Backman in a race with Soto, and Backman wins it. Boy, outstanding hustle by Wally Backman to get the Mets another run.
His 12th RBI of the year, and here's Mookie, base hit center field. Fitzgerald coming around from second. He will score. And that's going to be all for Mario Soto as the Mets lead 6-1. Boy, what a night for Mookie. 2 singles, a home run, and 3 RBIs.
Well, the Mets sent 8 men to the plate against Soto here in the 4th inning. He had held the Mets to just 2 base hits coming into the 4th inning. And then Darryl Strawberry drove it out of the ballpark. Hubie Brooks followed with a single. Danny Heath with a hit-and-run single, putting runners at first and third. Mike Fitzgerald hit by a pitch ball. After Rusty Staub was struck out, a sacrifice fly by Dwight Gooden got another in. And then Wally Backman got another in, beating out the ball that was hit to the first baseman, Dreesen, beating Soto to the bag at first. And then Mookie on the next pitch, single to center field to get another in. And now the Mets leading by a score of 6-1. Soto, who averaged 8 innings per start last year, knocked out of the box here in the 4th inning.
And his streak of 8 victories in a row will come to an abrupt end. Regardless of what happens here on out, Mario stands to be the losing pitcher and cannot win it.
Well, he could get off the hook if Cincinnati comes back to tie the ball game or to win the ball game.
Right.
So Soto out of the game, and after he leaves this ball game, he starts a 5-game suspension.
Frank Pastore, as you see, 3-5 on the year. And a rather high ERA of 5.23. Pastore making his 15th appearance. Well, Monday, right here on Channel 9, on the 4 o'clock movie, an American corporal is a POW despised for the wealth he gained by trading with the enemy. George Siegel stars in King Rat as Psych Week begins on Channel 9's 4 o'clock movie.
And speaking of psyched, the Mets are psyched up by the crowd here tonight and by their performance in their last 35 ball games. They have won 23 on a streak to make it 24. And the Mets, if they win this ball game, will be in first place by a half game over the Chicago Cubs, who lost today. Giants beat the Cubs 7-2. The Phillies also lost. Atlanta winning 5-2.
So Keith Hernandez, the 9th Met to bat here in the 4th inning, will face Frank Pastore. Soto goes 3 2/3. He has been charged so far with 6 runs, 7 hits. He struck out 4, walked 1, and hit a batter. 3rd batter he's hit this year. Our golden boy. You got that right. The Golden Glove, even though Hernandez charged with an error tonight. 1st and 2nd, 2 out, and a ball inside. Keith is 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded to first. Came into tonight 6th in the National League in hitting at .309. Fouled away, 1-1. Asking home plate umpire Dana to move if that ball was a strike. Two and 1.
Pastore, when Alex Trevino was with the Cincinnati Reds, got into a verbal battle with Trevino.
Line drive, base hit, left field. Here comes Backman. He'll score. Here comes Mookie. He's being waved home. Here's the throw to the plate. Safe.
Keith Hernandez does it again, lining the ball down the left field line. No doubt about Backman scoring. Mookie on first base being waved in. The ball bobbled a bit in left field by Ritas. The throw not in time as Mookie outruns the ball, and the Mets get 2 more, and they lead by a score of 8-1.
Hernandez now with a team-leading 45 RBIs. He has driven in 23 runs in the last 27 games, and he's at second base for Strawberry, who looks at a curveball for strike 1.
Strawberry started the inning off with his 11th home run of the year. So the Mets are red hot.
It's an 8-1 ball game. 1-1. Darrell hit one to the base of the scoreboard over the 371 sign in right field. His 11th of the year. That's inside. It's 2-1. 2-2. That's just about in the area where Darrell got the fastball from Soto that he hit out of the park.
Mets leading 8-1. All 8 runs are charged against Soto.
And that's down low. So a 3-2 count. 2 out. Hernandez at second base. Up the middle, base hit. Hernandez coming home. And it's 9-1 New York. Strawberry with 2 RBIs in the inning to give him 38 on the year.
And again, the pitch down low, and Strawberry hits it right through the middle. Hernandez scores easily as the center fielder Walker throws it back into the infield. So the Mets with 7 runs in, leading now by a score of 9-1. And that run will be charged against Pastore.
Here's Hubie, who has singled and scored in this inning. A ball inside. Hubie is 4 for 14 in the series. Fouled away, 1-1. And of course that includes his game-winning solo home run in the first game of last night's doubleheader. Good breaking ball from Pastore, and it's 1-2. High chopper to short. They'll take it the short way to second, and the inning is over. But the Mets have tied their high single inning output for the season with 7 runs. May 1st against Chicago, they also scored 7, and it's 9-1 New York after 4. Now here's a word from Budweiser. After Rusty Staub's pinch hit for Ron, Oquendo will play shortstop. As we go to the top of the 5th inning, the Mets leading now 9-1 with 7 runs in the bottom of the 4th, and Dwight Gooden, really for the first time this year, Ralph, has something to work with.
Second time, because on May 1st the Mets got him 8 runs and he beat the Cubs 8-1. But other than that, he has really had trouble getting runs when he's been in the ball game.
That's the only other time this year the Mets have scored 7 runs in an inning, was in that ball game on May 1st against Chicago. So Dwayne Walker, Dan Dreesen, and Dave Parker will face Dwight here. Walker 1 for 2, struck out and doubled to right, and scored a run in the 3rd. The only Cincinnati run. This guy looks like a hitter, though, Ralph.
He's a good-looking batter. Earlier this year, he was the player of the week of one of the early weeks with a 500-plus batting average.
And there's a base hit into right field just off the glove of Wally Backman to lead off the 5th inning. It wasn't pretty, but Walker's on for the 2nd time. Hit number 7 for Cincinnati.
And right here, we look at it again. Backman makes a good try for it, but it's off his glove. Walker gets his 2nd hit of the ball game, and he leads off here in the 5th as the Mets lead 9-1, and it brings up Dan Dreesen, who's 2 for 2.
Dreesen doubled to left in the 1st, single to center to drive in the Cincinnati run in the 3rd. And he's 3 for 7 in this series. Came into the game hitting .375 against the Mets. Takes the ball outside. Danny told me before the game, in talking about Dwight Gooden, he said, he won't get me looking. He said, I'm going to get my hacks. So far he has 2 hits. And a 3rd hit into right field. So with nobody out, the Reds come right back with back-to-back singles to put runners at 1st and 2nd. Dreesen now 3 for 3.
And that's the 8th hit that Gooden has given up.
Here's Big Dave Parker.
He gave up 9 hits against the Dodgers in a game he won 2-0. And again, he gave up 8 hits against the Dodgers in a game where he won 2-1 and struck out 14. And he gave up 9 hits in a game against Pittsburgh. 9 hits in the game against Montreal.
Well, we'll see how Dwight pitches when he's ahead. He did well in that game in Chicago.
You brought up a good point, Steve. You have to learn how to pitch when you have a big lead.
Right. Dwight has been in a lot of close ball games and has risen to the occasion. But this is only the 2nd time that he's had a comfortable lead. And here we are only in the 5th inning.
Here in the major leagues, you can't relax because these fellows know how to play.
And a shot by Backman into center field for a base hit. Walker being sent home. Dreesen goes to third. It's 9-2 with runners at first and third and still nobody out.
This game does not belong to Dwight Gooden yet. He has to go 5 innings. You cannot get a victory in the major leagues unless you go 5 innings, no matter what the score is. And right here, a run comes in. 2nd run for the Reds. And their run coming in this inning on 3 consecutive base hits. Parker now gets his first hit of this game.
Then Wayne Krenchicki, who is 1 for 2, will be the batter. Wayne singled to right back in the 2nd and flied to right. Parker's 47th RBI, and that leads the Cincinnati Reds. Beautiful curveball, strike 1.
So Gooden going back to the curveball now after throwing the fastball for those base hits.
Dwight does not appear to have his best fastball tonight.
His location has not been good with it, and it doesn't seem to be riding like it normally does.
Curveball high and outside, 1-1.
But when you have 2 pitches like he has, it do make a difference.
Dreesen at third, Parker at first. Krenchicki now 1-1. Nobody out. Two and 1.
Again, he misses with his fastball. He's been missing with his fastball and getting behind throughout this ball game.
Davey Johnson flanked by Ron Darling.
What a year Darling is having. 10-3, and he has won 7 straight games.
And the curveball misses. So 3-1. It was announced today that Joaquin Andujar will not participate for the National League All-Star team, as Dwight Gooden and Mario Soto will. But the Mets, hoping that Ron Darling would be named to replace him, lost out on that hope. They picked Fernando Valenzuela. 3-2.
It's not a bad selection.
Of course, before Dwight picked up a few strikeouts, Fernando was the league leader with 128.
And also, the Mets have 4 people on that All-Star team. It'd be rather unusual for a team to have 5 on there ever since they packed the All-Star game with Cincinnati players back in the 50s.
Number 7. And 1 away in the 5th.
Krenchicki gets the count to 3-2, and he gets a fastball, and that one was a good one in a good location. And strikeout number 7 for Dwight. He now has 132. That leads the National League, leads the major leagues, as a matter of fact.
That's for sure. Brad Goulden is 1 for 2. He struck out and singled to center, and he misses one. Was that a strike, he wants to know? It's amazing when you face a pitcher like Gooden, how many times hitters will ask the umpire.
Is that pitch in the strike zone? I didn't see it.
That's what it means. It's like they don't see it.
Sounded low.
That was up and in, and it's 1-1.
In the American League, the strikeout leader has only 101 strikeouts, and that's Wood of California. Steve behind him at 95.
And the straight change is popped up. It'll be out of play, however, as Hubie gives it a look, but it's well back.
Say, fans, did you know the Nissan Sentra is America's most popular import? See it tomorrow at your Datsun dealer.
One ball, two strikes. The count on Cincinnati catcher Brad Goulden. 1 out. Cincinnati has scored a run here in the top of the 5th to make it 9-2, and they have runners at first and third.
My good friend George Metkovich was hitting against Max Serkant, who at one time held the consecutive strikeout record of 8, later broken by Seaver with 10. He struck out on 3 pitches. He came back, and someone asked him what he was throwing. He says, the radio ball. I said, what do you mean, the radio ball? He says, you can hear it, but you can't see it.
A lot of hitters can identify with that. And with 2 strikes on Goulden, the crowd again getting behind Dwight. Didn't miss by much. 2-2. Curveball, line drive, caught by Backman. Grayson back to third as Wally, who is rather diminutive, had to go as far as he could go, but he got it.
Well, you got to play him a little higher, Wally. What is he, 5'9"?
No, I'd say closer to 5'6".
He got up there and made the play. Used everything he had.
That's something that typifies Wally Backman. If a phrase describes Wally, it's that he uses everything he has. So 2 out in the inning. Runners still at first and third for Ron Oster, who is 0 for 2. He's reached twice, both times on fielder's choices. And he takes a strike at the knees. Oster has had 1 hit in 20 times up against the Mets this year. Ground ball foul makes it strike 2. Cheer building with another 2-strike count. Line drive, Oquendo on 1 hop to Backman. The inning is over. 1 run on 3 hits for Cincinnati, but in the middle of the 5th inning, Dwight Gooden still in control. The Mets leading 9-2. Now, here's a word from Dotson.
Leading 9-2 in the 4th game of this 5-game series with the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets have never won a season series against Cincinnati. The Mets have won 4 of the 6 games played so far, not counting this one. And, of course, in the season series, when the Mets play a Western Division ball club, it's 6 at home and 6 away, a total of 12. And Frank Pastore, who relieved Soto, working now to Danny Heap, who had a big base hit in the 4th inning of the Mets' 7-run, 7-hit 4th. 1 ball and 1 strike to Danny Heap. And now 2-1. Danny 1 for 2 in this game. And he fouls off a fastball.
You know, Ralph, a lot of things have happened during this streak of the Mets over the last 35 games that have been confidence-building items. But to do what they've done to Mario Soto tonight has to rank right up there, since they had never beaten Soto in his entire career coming into tonight. They still haven't won the ball game. But to hit him for 9 runs after he's going 7-0 against him has got to help.
Again, a foul ball, and again out of play. Well, no doubt about Mario Soto being a class pitcher. He's in a high class. All things good come to an end somewhere along the line.
I said 9 runs, actually 8 of the 9 charged to Soto, but still just another indication of the turnaround that is in progress.
And it's ball 4. So Pastore walks Danny Heap, the leadoff batter here in the 5th inning. First walk that the Mets have had in this game. Soto hit 1 batter, so the Mets now would make that the 2nd walk. Soto did walk a batter. He walked Dwight Gooden, and it cost him a run. That brings up Mike Fitzgerald, who was hit by a pitch ball in that big 4th inning when the Mets got 7 runs. He's 0 for 1. And a base hit down the right field side. Parker has it. Danny Heap on his way to 3rd. The throw cut off, and the Mets have runners at 3rd and at first base, with no one out here in the 5th inning as they continue the onslaught.
Mike Fitzgerald getting back into the groove after fighting a couple of nagging injuries. Was hitting over a 300 clip until he hurt his left knee, but appears to be getting back that stroke.
And that'll bring up Jose Oquendo, batting for the first time. Oquendo hitting .210 with no home runs, 10 RBIs. He replaced Ron Gardner, who was taken out for a pinch hitter back in the 4th. And the curveball, a called strike.
Jose hasn't played very much lately, but he's also been hitting better. .278 over the last 19 games in which he has played.
Chase the curveball, strike 2. Pastore 9-12 last year in 36 ball games. And again the breaking ball, and Oquendo is struck out. And that'll bring up Dwight Gooden. Gooden really helped his guys in the 4th inning with a long sacrifice fly to right field to score Hubie Brooks from 3rd base. Gooden also has walked, and he scored that time, so officially he has not been to the plate, but he has accounted for an RBI, and he has accounted for a run. He chops that ball foul. Gooden with 5 base hits has driven in 2 now. He has been up 35 times, batting with a runner at 3rd and a runner at 1st.
You know, in addition, Ralph, to Gooden's poise on the mound, he's shown a great deal of poise at the plate.
He's going to be a good hitter. There's a bouncing ball to the first base side that's foul.
When you consider he's just a few years out of high school and that he did not bat in the minor leagues last season, he stepped right in against major league pitching and taken some good hacks.
He's going to be a good hitter. He's a good fielder, good hitter. And what else?
Just a good
pitcher.
guy. I'm telling you, he's just an amazing young man in every area.
Curveball, he stayed in there, topped it out to short. That'll get a run in. And the throw to first base in time to get Dwight Gooden, but another run scores as Danny Heap comes in from 3rd. So now Gooden with 2 RBIs in this game. On the play, Fitzgerald went on down to 2nd. Dwight Gooden. Boy, he is a good one.
Well, that's a pretty good curveball. He hangs in there and just hits the top part of it. But it's good enough to give him 1 more run and a 10-2 lead. Came into the game with 1 RBI on the year, so he's tripled that total now with 2 tonight.
And the batter coming up is Wally Backman, who had an infield base hit on Hustle in the 4th inning. Beating Soto to the bag at first to keep the rally going. And there's ball 1. Fitzgerald, the runner at second base. Mets leading 10-2. They have 10 hits to go with their 10 runs. Backman hitting .280. And another base hit. Fitzgerald going to third and being held there. Backman makes the turn at first base and holds. So Fitzgerald moved to third on the base hit by Backman. And the Mets now have runners at first and third. 2 men away, and the batter will be Mookie Wilson, who is 3 for 3 with a home run. And there's Backman again.
The 11th New York hit of the night. And the Mets have been doing a little first and third here in this ball game, and they're doing it again here with 2 out in the 6th or their 5th inning.
Mookie singled, homered, and singled in his first 3 appearances. And he goes after the curveball. Mookie's home run, a tremendous drive that hit the foul pole screen. His 6th home run of the year, and it came with a man on base, putting the Mets on top by a score of 2-1 at that time. 1 ball, 1 strike. One pitch, curveball, grounded foul. So it goes to 1-2. Frank Pastore in relief of Mario Soto. Pastore from Alhambra, California, my hometown.
I'm going to say, I know somebody else from Alhambra.
1-2 pitch, fastball, fouled back.
How close is Arcadia to Alhambra?
About 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
I figured it was pretty close.
Why do you bring up Arcadia? You a horse race fan? That's where Santa Anita is.
No, that's why I asked you. Wondered if you spent any time at the track in your youth.
I used to work there. And a pitch high, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. When I was playing minor league ball, I used to work there in the wintertime as a ticket taker. Didn't make any money.
So you didn't have any to bet with, huh?
No, the other word. They paid me, but I put it right back.
That was their plan.
And the wave going around the ballpark on the 2-2 pitch. And again, a foul ball. Well, Alhambra has turned out a few ball players. Max West, who was a major league ball player and a good one. Hank Gary. Polish Prince. Mike Kukau. 2-2 the count. And another base hit for Mookie Wilson. Coming in to score from third is Fitzgerald, and Mookie now 4 for 4.
I'll tell you something. Dwight Gooden brought a lot of people into this ballpark tonight, but Mookie Wilson has thrilled him. This is his 4th RBI in addition to his 4th hit, and it gives the Mets an 11-2 lead.
And here comes Vern Rapp, and he's going to the umpire. That means he'll make a double switch. Mets sent 12 men to the plate in the 4th inning, scoring 7 runs on 7 hits. Keith Hernandez coming up here in this inning will be the 7th man to bat. And Vern Rapp out to the mound as he confers with home plate umpire Danny DeMuth before going to the mound as he makes the switch. Coming out of the ball game, the second baseman Ron Oster, and Lawless will take his place.
Tom Lawless, as the double switch will be made. Oster made the last out in the 5th inning. So Lawless will bat 9th, which will be 2nd in the 6th inning. And the new pitcher will be inserted in the number 7 position in the batting order. And they're really getting the wave going now.
Torre gets credit for 1 inning of work. So far, he's been charged with 3 runs.
Well, the Mets have scored their highest run total of the season with 11 so far in this ball game, and the 4 RBIs by Mookie Wilson that we just mentioned are a career high for Mookie in a single game, and it's also the 8th time in Mookie's career that he's gotten 4 hits in a ball game, and that's pretty good for a guy who hasn't been around that long.
He's got a chance to get 6. He'll bat 2 more times in all likelihood.
Well, here's Bob Ochenko, the 3rd pitcher of the night, and the Mets are so hot in this ball game it hasn't seemed to make a whole lot of difference. So Ochenko is 3-4 with a 4.87 ERA. His 27th appearance. He has 1 save. He's pitched 57 in the 3rd innings, walking 27 and striking out 33.
And the left-handed pitcher brought in the pitch to the left-hand batter Keith Hernandez. Behind Hernandez is Darryl Strawberry, also a left-hand batter. Ochenko started his career with the San Diego Padres. So the Mets leading by a score of 11-2. They have 11 runs on 12 hits. They made 1 error. Cincinnati with 2 runs on 9 hits, and they made 1 error. And the Mets with runners at first and second base and 2 men out in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, I'll take a minute to briefly run down the National League here while Ochenko warms up. Atlanta beat Philadelphia 5-2. Rick Camp the winner. Donnie Moore his 9th save, and Shane Raleigh his first National League loss. Ramirez a game-winning RBI. Washington his 11th home run. San Francisco over Chicago 7-2. In that game, Dan Roan hit his first Major League home run for the Cubs, a pinch hit homer. But the Cubbies lost. Krukow the winner, 5-7. Lavelle his 9th save. Rick Russell the loser. Krukow got the game-winning RBI as well. St. Louis will be at L.A. later. They're in the 7th inning in Montreal. Tied 2-2 Montreal and Houston. Mike Scott against David Palmer. And it'll be Pittsburgh at San Diego later.
And Keith Hernandez, who doubled his last time up, the drive-in 2, facing Bob Ochenko. And the fastball for ball 1. Hernandez now with 45 runs batted in. He leads the club in that department. In this game, Hernandez is 1 for 3. In his last 19 ball games, Hernandez has had 16 runs batted in. Again, the fastball. 2 balls, no strikes.
And 23, Ralph, in the last 27, counting tonight.
Hernandez named to the National League All-Star squad. And another one out of the strike zone. Another fastball, 3-0. Steve Garvey was voted in as the first baseman for the All-Star game. Garvey receiving the most votes in the National League. Hernandez will no doubt replace him in the starting lineup. They can change over to other players after 3 innings. That pitch fouled off, so it's 3-1. Again, the fastball.
Well, on statistics, Keith probably more deserving than Steve Garvey, but that's part of the fan voting process. Garvey being voted in on his career.
And again, a fastball. Again, it's fouled off, 3-2. It'll be Garvey at first base, Sandberg at second base, Ozzie Smith at shortstop, Mike Schmidt at third. In the outfield, Strawberry in right field, Dale Murphy in center field, and Tony Gwynn, I guess, in left.
Yeah, Gwynn and Strawberry both basically right fielders, but you would think that's the way that manager Paul Owens would play it.
Fastball, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Bases loaded, and Darryl Strawberry coming up. Strawberry with a 2-run, make it a solo home run in the 4th inning, his 11th of the year. Now he has a shot at a grand slammer. So this crowd of 35,004 paid. Total in the house of 38,243, enjoying the Mets lead of 11-2. And a breaking ball for ball 1.
Darrell also drove in another run with a single in that same inning. He was up twice in the 4th, homered and singled for 2 RBIs.
Has 38 on the year. Again, the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball that time. 2-1 the count to Strawberry.
Well, Ralph, if we have over 38,000 here at Shea tonight, as you look at the runners, the bases loaded. I wonder how many folks are going to be here for Bat Day tomorrow afternoon.
Come on out. And now 3-1. That's about 200,000 ahead in paid attendance over last year. 3-1 the count to Strawberry. Walked in. So on the walk, a run scores. And the Mets take the lead by a score of 12-2.
And that'll be Darrell's 3rd RBI of the night. Ochenko has been brought in to face 2 left-handed batters, and he has walked them both.
Look at this one. It's way out of the strike zone.
Golden had no chance. I think he got fooled a little bit on that pitch, too, because he didn't really get his body out there.
So the bases remain loaded as the runners move up, and the batter will be Hubie Brooks, the 9th man to bat. Mookie Wilson at 3rd, Hernandez at 2nd, and Darrell Strawberry at 1st. And he tries the curveball and misses. Ball 1. Hubie with a base hit in 3 times up. That base hit coming in that big 4th inning when the Mets got 7.
And Hubie, the 9th person to bat in this inning.
Fastball, it's hit down the right field side. Parker and Lawless over there. Lawless makes the play as he goes over the top of Parker, and Parker might have been hurt.
Well, it's a good thing Dave went down, because he went down in an effort to avoid the collision with Lawless. And I don't know if he's all right.
So that ends the inning. The Mets getting 3 runs. And they left 3. And the score at the end of 5. It's the Mets 12 and the Cincinnati Reds 2. Now, here's a word from Bud Light. Well, fans, the season is half over. All-Star break coming up next Tuesday. And the '84 Mets are the surprise of the National League, along with the Cubs. The action will be at Shea the rest of the summer. And we'd like to remind you that you can still purchase seats on a season basis. Of course, they'll be prorated. With season tickets, there's no waiting on lines, and you're guaranteed, and this is the important thing with these crowds growing like they're growing, you're guaranteed choice seats for every game when the Mets enter into that home stretch. They have 24 games after the All-Star break against the Eastern Division opponents, and those games will be sure to be the deciding factor in the National League East standings. So think about Mets season tickets and catch the rising stars here at Shea. For information, call the Mets ticket office during business hours. Dial 212-507-TIXX. That's 507-TIXX. For the Reds, it'll be Tom Foley to lead off. Mets leading 12-2. Foley batting for the 3rd time, has a base hit in 2 times up. Dwight Gooden has struck out 7 through his first 5 innings. He has given up 2 runs on 9 hits. And the fastball for ball 1. Gooden, with his 7 strikeouts, leads the National League. He has 132. Valenzuela has 128. And it's off the hands, a broken bat, ground ball to shortstop. Oquendo guns it to first base, one away. Jose Oquendo replacing Ron Gardenhire. Gardenhire taken out for a pinch hitter when the Mets sent up Rusty Staub. And now it'll be Tom Lawless batting for the first time.
Jose asked me to say hello to his sister-in-law, Mary Ann, in Puerto Rico, along with wife Zenaida, who is expecting. Jose hasn't been in a ball game lately, so they're getting a chance to see him for the first time in a little while.
And Jose, having a birthday on July 4th, is now 21 years of age. Lawless gets a fastball. It's ball one. Lawless hitting .244. 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. And there's the strike. Dwight Gooden with 2 complete games in his major league career. One of them a shutout. That was against the Dodgers. Another strike. 1-2.
Well, it'll build to a crescendo now as the biggest K in the ballpark parades around.
1-2 pitch. Goes to the curveball. It's hit up the middle. Slowly. Oquendo comes up with it, but he doesn't have a play. So a base hit for Lawless. That is the 10th for Cincinnati in this game. The most hits that Dwight has given up in his major league career. But he's leading by a score of 12-2, and the batter coming up will be Gary Redus. Redus is 0 for 3. Redus has hit 2 towering fly balls to center field, sandwiched in between the flyouts, a strikeout.
The Reds have missed him, along with Eddie Milner, who's on the disabled list. Changes their team completely without those 2 guys at the top of the order.
And the curveball for ball one. Redus with 31 stolen bases shows outstanding speed. He was runner-up to Dwight, should say, to Darryl Strawberry as the Rookie of the Year. Fastball. 1-1 the count.
Well, to show you how effective he's been stealing bases, he missed about a week, and he's still 3rd in the National League with those 31 steals. Juan Samuel leading going into today with 40.
Fastball, strike 2. 1-2. Alan Wiggins with 35. Also in between Samuel and Redus.
Pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre.
Got to be a happy man with this staff. Struck him out. So Redus struck out for the 2nd time. That is strikeout number 8. Fans are looking for at least 10 here tonight.
Well, Dwight has 6 games in which he has struck out 10 or more, averaging 10.7 for every 9 innings pitched, as he now leads Fernando by 5.
So Gooden will go to that All-Star game as the youngest player ever picked for an All-Star game, and also he will be leading the National League and the American League in strikeouts, all at the age of 19. Good curveball.
Somebody had a funny quote the other day. I can't remember the player. They said, imagine if they put Dwight out there in the All-Star game and tell him he only has to get 3 hitters. What kind of stuff is he going to throw? Talk about airing it out.
Dwayne Walker with 2 hits and 3 times up off Gooden, and he gets another curve.
There has been some talk that Dwight will start the ball game. Eddie Lynch is throwing in the bullpen now.
They don't care what they do to that young man, do they? Put the pressure on him in the All-Star game.
Well, he's sort of proven to people that he can handle it.
1-1 the count. And the fastball, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
But what a thrill that would be.
19 years of age, and he'll be there with all the stars. Oh, that could be the first of a lot of All-Star games for Dwight Gooden.
You're not kidding, man. A lot of leading the league in strikeouts.
the count. Fastball, strike 2.
Well, we talked earlier about how Dwight improves ordinarily as the game goes along. And he seems to have found his rhythm and found the control of that fastball that he was missing with for the first few innings. The thing you worry about is he sat down for a while as the diamond vision expresses the hitter's feelings. But it hasn't seemed to have affected him negatively, those long innings. And that's a good sign as well.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Curveball, and he misses with it. So it goes to 3-2. Runner at first base. Tom Lawless will be running with the pitch. Hernandez moving off the bag behind the runner for defensive room. Dr. K. Dwight Gooden. And it's popped up in foul territory, out of play. Oh, that pitch in a good spot. So Lawless back to first base, and we'll look at it again on the 3-2 count.
It's amazing how this crowd ebbs and flows with the situations following Dwight through every pitch.
The electricity. A lot of voltage out here. Again at 3-2. And he walked him. That is the first walk given up by Gooden in this game. He has pitched one other game where he has walked only one batter. Again, the amazing part of his young career is the fact that he does not walk many to go with his amazing strikeout total. That's only his 42nd walk this season in a total of 111 innings. That brings up Dan Dreesen, who's 3 for 3 against him. And the fastball, a strike call. Dreesen doubled to left field his first time up, bounced a hit up the middle to drive in a run his second time up, and singled to right field in the 5th his third time up. Batting now with runners at first and second, 2 men out. The Mets leading 12-2. One strike pitch. And it's popped up foul. Ball back into the stands, out of play. Another souvenir. And that puts the count at strike 2. And again, the fans will be getting up for that strikeout. They look for that strikeout. Dreesen against the Mets has had 9 hits and 19 times up this year. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Half swing, top ball out in front of home plate. Gooden has it. The throw to first base retires aside. So Gooden gets a strikeout. 1 hit, a walk, and 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Mets 12 and the Cincinnati Reds 2.
And highlights of the latest sports action. Join Lloyd, Lindsey Young, and Jimmy Myers, part of News 9 Primetime, weeknights at 8 o'clock right here on Channel 9.
And right here in Channel 9, we're going to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Mets leading 12-2. And the leadoff batter for the Mets will be Danny Heap. Mets have batted around twice in this game. In the 4th inning, they scored 7 runs on 7 hits. Sent 12 men to the plate. In the 5th inning, they scored 3 runs on 3 hits while sending 9 men to the plate.
This is when your scorecard starts to look like the chicken got loose in the inkwell and danced across it.
Reds led early in the ball game, scoring a run in the 3rd. Mets came back to go in front on a 2-run home run by Mookie Wilson, and now Danny Heap takes the strike. Bob Ochinko working for Cincinnati. Soto, the starting pitcher, worked 3 2/3, the earliest he's been knocked out of the box this year. And the bouncing curveball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Soto charged with 8 runs on 7 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 1.
One thing about the Cincinnati staff, there's a big drop-off after Mario Soto.
And a strikeout. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And really, John Franco's the only reliever who's done any kind of a job either.
You think your scorecard looks bad? Look at the lineup card.
There have been a few changes.
And that one a ball, 2 balls and a strike. Soto came into this game with a record of 9-1. He had never lost to the Mets. He had a record of 7-0 against the Mets. There's a hard base hit to right field. So Danny Heap gets his 2nd hit. He's been up 3 times officially. And the Mets have a runner on with no one out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. That's the first hit given up by Ochenko. But Ochenko came in the ball game and walked the first 2 batters he faced, walking in a run. Brings up Mike Fitzgerald, who has a base hit and 2 times up. He also was hit by a pitch ball and scored. Big curveball for a ball. Cubs lost today 7-2 to San Francisco, so if the Mets win this ball game, they'll be a half a game in first place. And a high foul ball. Ball out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Ralph, you have to wonder where Cincinnati might be in the standings if it were not for Soto. They're dead last in hitting in the National League. They are next to last in pitching. Only San Francisco with a 4.27 ERA is lower, or rather I should say higher. Cincinnati's team ERA coming into tonight 4.20, and the Brain Trust not exactly thrilled.
And a very glum Vern Rapp over there, manager of the Cincinnati Reds. There's the line score: 12 runs, 13 hits, 1 error. The Reds 2 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. Bottom of the 6th inning. And again the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Time called by Fitzgerald as he tries to dig into the batter's box. Paid crowd 35,004. Treated to what ball players call a laugher. And that's all for Fitzgerald as Ochenko picks up his first strikeout.
This may be, Ralph, the first time this year, if the Mets hold on and don't give up 10 runs, where they have been able to win before a very large crowd here at Shea.
They have been snake bit when it has been a big crowd out here. There's one by Ochenko that is into center field. Walker coming up, makes a diving try. He doesn't get to catch the ball, bounces away as it hits the mound, and the runners move up. Danny Heap goes over to third, and Ochenko moves on down to second base on the error. So it will be a base hit, and also an error will be charged.
Well, as Jerry Reed would say, when you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. The Mets are hot, and the Reds are not. Fine effort by Walker, but as you see, short hops the ball. And as he comes up and fires, because the runner at first base, Danny Heap, had to hold up, the ball hit the front of the mound, or actually the back of the mound, looking at it from our point of view, and then hopped right over the cutoff man. So Heap moves up to third. Ochenko, who singles, moves up to second.
Now tell me where he was throwing. Why is he throwing home?
I have no idea. He was throwing to the cutoff man,
and the runner was going to third.
Made no sense.
So Walker, confused in the outfield, throwing home. There was no one there, no one coming in, and the ball getting away, and the runners move up on his error. Second error by the Cincinnati Reds that puts runners at second and third with 1 man out, and brings up Jerry Martin, who's batting for Dwight Gooden. So Gooden has left the ball game, and we'll look at someone else, Ed Lynch, when the Reds come up in the top of the 7th inning.
Well, the crowd booing at the pinch hitter Jerry Martin, but Davy Johnson has done this all year long, and especially with Dwight Gooden. He has an idea of how many pitches he wants Dwight to throw, and Dwight's obviously sitting comfortably.
Sitting on a 12-2 lead. The only thing is he doesn't get a shot at striking out 10 batters. There's Ed Lynch in the bullpen. He's warmed up.
Actually, as Tim McCarver just pointed out, Dwayne Walker was throwing to second base in an effort to get the force on Danny Heap and just flat overthrew him, and the ball went all the way to the mound before it hit the ground.
And Martin swings and misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Martin hitting just .086. He's been up 35 times, and he's had 3 hits. One of the hits a home run. It was off of Tim Lawler of the San Diego Padres. One and one the count. Bob Ochenko, the pitcher. And the breaking ball is missed. 1-2. Incidentally, Dwight Gooden in his times at bat walked and scored, had a sacrifice fly for a run batted in, and grounded out and got a run batted in on the ground out. So he scored 1, drove in 2, and was 0 for 1. As well as picking up 8 strikeouts and a chance to pick up another win. And it's strike 3. So Jerry Martin struck out. 2 men away, and it will bring up Wally Backman. Backman is 2 for 4.
Second baseman, Wally Backman.
Wally's been doing it all lately, driving in runs, something he hasn't been expected to do, basically. He's picked up another RBI tonight to give him 9 in the last 16 games and 12 on the year.
And batting from the right-hand side for the first time. Out to right field. Parker is there. And Dave Parker puts it away, and that ends the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left in scoring position. The score at the end is 6. The New York Mets 12, the Cincinnati Reds 2. Now word from Citizen watching.
Game in right field. Darryl Strawberry has moved to center field as Martin is in there. So I guess Ed Lynch is going to bat. I'm not sure where he's going to bat. I guess he has to bat. He has to bat second because Martin batted 9th and stayed in the game. And that means Eddie Lynch will lead off the next inning. But anyway, Mookie Wilson getting a rest. Strawberry now in center field. Eddie 7-5, as you see, with no saves. Back in the bullpen after a real good first part of the year. He fell on hard times, lost 4 starts in a row, and has gone back to the bullpen. But for the majority of this season was the Mets' most consistent pitcher until Ron Darling and Dwight Gooden got red hot, as they are. And coming back in here as we go to the 7th inning, a man who has been away far too long. Although the Mets are happy that it happened as it happened, since they were able to score 10 big ones while he was taking a break. Tim McCarver.
Well, I'm happy too. Most happy to be out under those circumstances. However, I've had a chance to write a novel. I've had 2 birthdays.
Had dinner.
Had dinner.
Gone through 3 or 4 cigars.
Drove my car around the block. My goodness. This game almost 3 hours old, and we're only in the 7th inning as Dave Parker steps in there to face Ed Lynch. Ed's last assignment was a starting assignment. This is his first relief appearance since May 7th. Grounded back to Ed Lynch. And Eddie makes the put out on 1 pitch. You talk about the antithesis of Dwight Gooden. Ed Lynch relies solely on control, whereas Dwight relies on pure power.
You would expect the Cincinnati hitters to be a little out in front.
As Parker was. Here's Wayne Krenchicki. Fastball is high. I was talking to Eddie before the game, and last night, going into the 9th inning, that game was tied. The Mets eventually won the 2nd game 6-5. Krenchicki fouls it back. And Ed was saying that he was the guy who was supposed to be in there if Junior Ortiz didn't get on in the 9th inning. He was going to be the pitcher in the 10th, not Doug Sisk. So very interesting. We had speculated that, if you remember, Steve.
Right.
1-2 to Krinchicki. A curveball catches the corner. And I think this is a good move, not only for Gooden, but for Ed Lynch. Get him a few innings under his belt. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Let him straighten himself out.
Well, Davey has been so astute at using players, and including the pitching staff. It's just another indication of his concern for them and his thinking
Concern
of the
for
whole.
him,
Concern for himself, of course, but
Certainly.
thinking of the whole rather than the separate parts.
Brad Goulden, the batter. 1-0 to Brad. He takes a fastball outside. He's 1 for 3 on the night. By the way, Dwight Gooden worked 6 innings, struck out 8, walked only 1, allowed 10 hits, as the Reds have had runners on in every base, in every inning. A fastball fouled away, 1-2. He allowed only 2 runs, both of which were earned. Brent Gaff warming for the Mets, so maybe Davey will pinch hit for Ed Lynch in the bottom of the 7th inning, as he is slated to be the leadoff hitter. Jams him with a fastball, lifted into right field. Backman going out a long way and makes a nice play. Boy, he went a long way for that ball. And for the first time this evening, the Reds are retired in order, and after 6½, the Mets walloping Cincinnati 12-2. Well, bottom of the 7th inning, as one of our retrievers down the left field line is taking the air out of somebody's sails.
The Reds have had their air taken out of them tonight so far.
And it looks like Junior Ortiz, who came out of the dugout and then went back in, will be the pinch hitter.
Timmy, there's some kind of conference going on between the umpires as well. Dana DeMuth went down to third base umpire Jerry Dale, and they had a rather lengthy conversation in regard to what I do not know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Davis.
Dana probably thinking that a double switch was made without realizing that Martin stayed in the lineup. I would think that would be the thing. But anyway, Ortiz is going to be the hitter. Junior's hit the ball well. He had a couple of hits last night. And has hit the ball well pinch hitting lately. Not much luck. Swing and a miss from Bob Ochinko.
Junior's hitting 180 on the year, as you see. He's 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter. No home runs, 8 RBIs. But this is his first at bat, not a pinch hit appearance. So he was inserted in the number 2 position.
All right. We overlooked that
That
point.
was a double switch.
So Ed Lynch was probably hitting 10th. And Ortiz fouls this one back, 1-2. I guess Ed Lynch would have to be hitting in Mike Fitzgerald's position.
Number 7, yes.
Yeah, now we got it. Not easy, folks. Not in these 12-2 games. Nobody said it'd be easy, Stevie. My boy.
I told you last inning what my scorecard looked like.
1-2 to Junior Ortiz. Base hit left field. Oh, Junior contributes, and he may not stop at first and isn't, as he has himself a double. Well, they say they all even up. He's hit the ball well at guys, and he breaks a bat here and gets a double down the left field line.
What's that old song? Walker's moved to right field now. And Eric Davis into the game in center field. What's that song? Everybody's doing it, doing it, doing it. That old song. That's the way the Mets are playing tonight.
He got the hitting boots on tonight. 15 hits and 12 runs tonight. Mario Soto started the game. Will be charged with the loss. Hernandez base hit left field. Ortiz will hold at third as Reedus gets it in hurriedly. Second base hit for Keith Hernandez. He has a single double, 2 RBIs now.
Well, it's 2-2 up in Olympic Stadium. Houston and Montreal tied in the 8th inning. The Braves beat the Phillies 5-2 this afternoon. The Pirates at the Padres just getting underway in San Diego. Elsewhere in the National League, St. Louis will be at Los Angeles, and the Giants defeated the Cubs 7-2. So with that victory by San Francisco and a Mets victory here, the Mets will be in first place in the National League East by 1/2 game.
Darryl Strawberry, the batter. What a night he has had. 4 RBIs, and he's 2 for 3. A home run, make that 3 RBIs. Home run in the 4th inning after striking out in the 1st. A single RBI in the 4th. And a bases loaded walk in the 5th inning. Ground ball up the middle, could be 2. Tom Lawless over to Dan Dreesen, safe, and that'll give Strawberry another RBI. 4 straight RBIs and 4 at bats. Had it been a double play, no RBI would have been awarded.
Well, the ball wasn't sharply hit as you see it bounding over there, and then when Oster decided to, or rather Lawless decided to take it himself, they really had very little chance to get Darryl, who runs down the line very well, as you know.
And the batter, Hubie Brooks. Hubie is 1 for 4. He has scored a run. Virtually everybody in the lineup has either had an RBI or a run scored. Slider for a strike. 0-1 to Hubie Brooks. Hubie has now batted safely in 46 of his last 54 ball games. Ground ball off the glove of Dreesen. And Ochinko makes the play, but he's safe at first. So we'll see how that scored. It looked like Strawberry blocked the vision of Dan Dreesen, and the usually sure-handed Dreesen may get an error on this play.
Pretty hard hit ball, and it just went right up Dreesen's arm.
Left fielder, Danny.
Ate him up, and then he flipped it over to Ochinko. Ochinko was there, but he didn't step on the bag. So it's an error. It's going to be charged an error. And I don't know whether it'll be on Dreesen or on Ochinko. Since Ochinko missed the bag, it could be charged to him.
It's an interesting point. Line drive by Danny Heap to right field. Strawberry's going to score. Hubie trying to go to third, and he'll be out. So Brooks is out at third. It's now a 14-2 ball game. And here comes Ed Lynch. So for Danny Heap, he's now 2 for 5. The 17th hit of this ball game for the Mets. 14 runs on 17 hits.
Mets pitcher, Ed Lynch.
Boy, has Heap had a good night. 2 runs scored, 3 for 4, an RBI. Every time you look up, he's on the base. Swing and a miss by Ed Lynch.
Well, Danny's a good hitter, and he has contended all along that if he played regularly, he could hit 300. He certainly had impressive minor league stats when he was in the Houston organization.
Another fastball outside to Lynch. It's 2-1 dead. This game 2 hours and 55 minutes old, and Brad Goulden's going to talk to Bob Ochinko. Now figure this one out.
Let's see, Bob. You've walked 2, struck out 2. You've given up 2 runs on 5 hits so far.
I admire Brad Goulden's zeal, I must say.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, as you well know, Timmy, that catcher still has a certain amount of responsibility for the welfare of his pitching staff. And there's some psychological factors involved here that I'm sure he's attending to.
Name one. A little flare to the right side. Second baseman Tom Lawless makes the catch.
Bruised ego.
Okay. I'll accept that. 2 runs for the Mets in the 7th. There were 3 base hits, 1 error, and 1 man left on. Make that 2 left. And at the end of 7 innings of play, the Mets 14 and Cincinnati 2. Now a word from, well, top of the 8th inning. Here this evening. 14-2 Mets lead. Manufacturers Hanover, we realize your potential. And our apologies go to director Bill Webb, who's made to sit through this 3-hour ball game. He's getting antsy down there in the control room, and he wants to go home.
He must be. Thought you were a baseball fan, Weber.
An inning and a half ago, he questioned Ralph Kiner as to whether the ball game could be postponed.
His line was, why doesn't Cincinnati just forfeit the game? It's not over till it's over, as someone once said.
What we need right now is about a 2-hour rain delay. That will make Bill Webb very, very happy. Bob Ochinko batting for himself here in the 8th inning. And he takes a ball thrown by Ed Lynch. 1-0. Fastball misses. 2-0. Ed Lynch came in relief of Dwight Gooden.
There's no 10-run rule in Major League Baseball.
There's a strike. 2-1.
This is the most runs, incidentally, that 14 the Mets have scored tonight since August 14th of 1979, when they scored 18 against Atlanta.
Fastball is outside. 3-1.
And this 17-hit attack by New York also ties their highest hit output this year.
Ochinko swings it probably ball 4. Count is full to Bob Ochinko. And the fastball misses, so Ed Lynch walks Bob Ochinko, and he's the leadoff base runner here in the 8th inning. 14-2, New York leads.
Tom Foley.
In the batter, Tom Foley. Foley is 1 for 3. He's been on base twice, once with a base hit and a rare error by Keith Hernandez on a nice play, and then an overthrow of Dwight Gooden. Could have been scored a base hit, I think.
Yep.
Hernandez with 3 errors on the year and 2 in the last 2 days.
Tough errors, too.
He was fooled on that ball hit by Tom Foley last night. That took that erratic bounce.
Tim Leary had made the play for the ball and it bounced away from Tim.
This one grounded foul. 0-1 to Tom Foley. Foley batting .269 on the year.
The Mets, in winning this ball game tonight, would go 12 games over 500, and it would be the first time since 1976 at any point in the season that the Mets have been 12 over.
Another foul ball. 0-2 to Foley. He's in the hole. That was October 1st, 76. October 2nd, they dropped back to 11 games under. Of course, the Phillies won it in 76, 77, and 78. They won 101 games back in 76. The Mets with him 87. And a little tap down the third baseline. Brooks lets it roll. And it gets by him. That's really the only play he had. It didn't look pretty. And it still doesn't. No. But it's a base hit for Tom Foley.
Jose Oquendo alertly coming over to cover third base so that the runner could not advance. So Ochinko moving to second. But he had no play at all on this ball hit by Foley. So he decided to see if in case it might kick. Now when he goes to get it, whoops. Looked like he stepped on the ball, but it is wet out there where the tarp did not cover. It rained like crazy here in New York overnight and this morning.
Hubie looked like he was doing an amateur audition for the Cosmos then. Tom Lawless, the batter. Tom 1 for 1 since entering the game in the 6th inning. Breaking ball, strike. 0-1 to Tom Lawless.
This might be an important outing for Ed Lynch, even though the game is 12 runs to the good, because he has been struggling, and if he can regain it, boy, it'll be time well spent, because he, when he has been on, has really been a main cog for New York this year.
Slider foul back, 1-2.
And Eddie's ability to get back in the rotation has been made doubly important by the fact that Tim Leary, in getting the start again in the doubleheader last night, once again proved ineffective.
Ed Lynch started out the season in the bullpen. He was 3-0 as a reliever, and then worked his record to 7-1 Fastball misses as he was 4-1 in the starting role. Then he lost his next 4 decisions. So he's trying to get himself straightened out. 7-5 coming into the ball game. Good fastball got him right on the corner. Second strikeout for Ed Lynch, and there's 1 away. And the batter, Gary Reedus. He has twice flied deep to center and struck out twice. He was Dwight Gooden's 8th strikeout victim. Dwight striking out 8 in 6 innings. He now has 133 strikeouts. Tops in the National League, 5 ahead of Fernando Valenzuela. 0-1 to Gary Reedus.
The Mets haven't had many laughers on their side of the ledger tonight. There was the 10-5 victory 2 weeks ago this coming Monday night in Philadelphia.
Ground ball short to third. Could be 2. And they call him out. First base umpire Terry Tatum makes the call. Very unusual round the horn twin killing there.
Now again, it didn't look pretty, but it got the job done. Backman coming over the bag to the inside. Now Hernandez is really out of position here, and that's one reason Reedus didn't beat it out. Reedus had to slow up to avoid the collision with Hernandez, who was standing astride the bag, and when Reedus slowed up, the throw beat him.
And in a game like this, Gary Reedus, nursing a bad ankle, doesn't want to hurt it anymore. So after 7.5 here at Shea, 14-2 New York. Now a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
And we want to remind you that Channel 9 has a triple play of action Sunday afternoons at 5 o'clock. Robert Urich stars as Dan Tana in Vegas at 6. Jack Lord heads up the Hawaii 5-0 squad, and at 7, Robert Wagner and Eddie Albert. Add a little twist of crime solving and switch. What a lineup on Sunday afternoons right here on Channel 9. Here in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Mets will send up Jose Oquendo, Jerry Martin, and Wally Backman to face Bombochenko. Jose 1 for 2, struck out and singled to center after replacing Ron Gardenhire at short. 1-1. And 2. 14-2. As Ochenko has not escaped the wrath of the Mets in his 3 innings of relief work. He's given up 2 runs on 5 hits. Good fastball, but grounded in the hole, and there will be no play. Foley did a good job to get to the ball, but had no chance to throw out Jose Oquendo, who picks up his second base hit.
Jerry Martin.
The Mets now with 18 hits in the ball game, and Jerry Martin, who struck out his first time up, pinch hitting for Dwight Gooden and stayed in the game. He'll be the batter. Looks like Goulden hurt himself.
Might have been when Jose Oquendo swung the bat. He came around and hit Goulden in the left wrist. I'll tell you, you're losing 14-2. You've been back there for all the misery, and you get hit in the hand by a hitter in the 8th inning.
Well, we might want to explain that, and that he hit him on the follow-through.
Yeah.
After he'd already hit the ball, so there wouldn't be any interference or anything involved.
Well, if he hit him on the swing, then he breaks his wrist.
That's right, sure.
And if you don't, you're not swinging hard enough.
Fly ball to right, and Jose back to first with 1 away.
Second baseman.
And here's Wally Backman. Wally's had a pretty good night. 2 for 5. 2 singles, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. And a ground ball to third. A do-or-die play. And they get him at first base. Nice play by Krenchicki, and a nice scoop at the other end by Dreesen. Jose moves down to second base now with 2 out.
Good play by Wayne Krenchicki. He couldn't get the ball out of his glove, but when he makes the throw, he throws low, and a nice scoop, as you said, by Dan Dreesen. Back at you tomorrow afternoon in about 13 hours, 14 hours. The first place Mets will be on the air at 1:30 game time.
Junior Ortiz, who doubled and scored his first time up in the 7th inning, swings and misses. And he holds up 1-1.
And I'm sure also we mentioned Bill Webb in the game tonight, and I'm sure tomorrow he'll enjoy driving home with a Bat Day crowd of some 55,000. So maybe we can think of some way to keep him here about a half hour extra.
There must be something we need to do before the All-Star break.
Possibly a production meeting tomorrow after the game. That'd be perfect.
It's a good idea. We'll expect you there, Bill.
Try to put him right in the heart of that traffic. Perfect.
I'm worried about just getting down the road to the airport. Junior hits one over his head. Foul, out of play. 1-2.
With your money, you ought to have a helicopter come over here and land on the infield. Just like that Tom Monahan, owner of the Detroit Tigers. That's how he gets to the ballpark every day.
Now, you know you could buy and sell me. So don't give me that. And that'll do it. A called third strike. Ends the 8th inning for New York. Third strikeout for Ochenko. But there is little doubt as we go to the 9th inning. A 14-2 New York lead. We're back after this word from Dotson. As the Cincinnati Reds breathe a collective sigh of relief. And a 14-2 New York lead. Don't miss the talent of the fine young Mets pitching staff again tomorrow. You got to mention their hitters after tonight as well, when the Mets host the Reds in the finale of not only this 5-game series but the first half of the season. Game time 1:30 right here on your station for sports, WOR TV Channel 9. And here we are high above the beautiful playing field at Shea, which has seen a few balls flying around and a few base runners in this ball game. It was expected to be a pitching duel with Soto and Gooden going, but the only pitching has been provided by the Mets tonight.
I think when Mookie Wilson hit that home run way back in the 3rd inning, he just ignited things and it was kind of an eye-opener for the Mets. And then Darryl Strawberry led off the 7-run 4th with a home run. 9 hitters later, he got a single up the middle for his 2nd RBI of the inning. 14-2 New York.
Dwayne Walker has 2 hits on the night and 3 trips. Make that 3 hits and 4 trips. And he's been about the only Red to do anything as he scored both runs.
You and Ralph were talking about Walker earlier. He's got an awfully short stroke for a left-handed hitter. Most left-handed hitters have that loop in their swing. Tony Gwynn of the San Diego Padres looks like a left-handed hitting Bill Madlock. Not saying that Walker can be compared to Madlock, but he's got a good swing.
That's hit deep to right by Dreesen, and it's out of here. A 2-run home run off Ed Lynch in the 9th inning, as Dan Dreesen picks up his 4th hit in the ball game. A double, 2 singles, and now a 2-run home run to make it 14-4 New York.
RBIs number 2 and 3 for Dreesen, who has 2 singles, a double, and a home run.
And Danny's 4th home run of the year, and he now has 21 RBIs on the season.
Well, a dangerous ball game, even though Ed Lynch is trying to get straightened out. It's a dangerous ball game for any pitcher because the hitters are up there just wailing away, and Danny Dreesen selected that first fastball out over the plate and drove it to right.
And here's Eric Davis batting for the first time in the ball game after being inserted in center field defensively and in Dave Parker's number 4 spot in the order, and he bunts it back to Lynch, who throws him out. Davis can really get down the line and just about anywhere else he wants to go. Well, Wayne Krenchicki, who's 1 for 4, will stand in there, and we will tell you that Getty would like to congratulate the New York Mets Getty star of the game, Mookie Wilson, for performing miles ahead of himself in tonight's ball game. Mookie will be presented with Getty gift certificates at Getty. The proof is at the pump. And Mookie tonight, just to recap once again what he did, Mookie 4 for 4, 3 singles, a home run, a 2-run home run, and 4 RBIs. Another foul ball from Krenchicki, and it's strike 2. 1 out, nobody on. 2 runs in for Cincinnati here in the 9th inning to make it 14-4 New York. Just outside, 1-2. Ed Lynch in relief of Dwight Gooden, who stands to pick up his 8th victory of the year. Foul back, still 1-2.
Also, excuse me, Steve. Also interesting to note, I was going to say that the Mets have never won a season series against the Cincinnati Reds.
They'll be up, I think, 5-2 after this game tonight.
Process of winning 4 in a row.
Martin comes in right field and is camped under it. George Foster giving him the score from the dugout on that catch. That'll be a 6.5.
Just on a catch.
Routine play. Give him a 2 on that routine play. 2 out. Brad Goulden takes a strike on the outside corner. Goulden 1 for 4 as well. And a line drive base hit to right field. 4th hit off Eddie Lynch. 14th in the ball game for Cincinnati, and Goulden picks up his 2nd, prolonging the agony.
It's like Nick Osaski is going to be the pinch hitter for Bob Ochinko. You talk about a tough time to pinch hit. That's great, isn't it?
Another 2. Jerry Martin being graded from the dugout. Well, Osaski's been struggling, and another at bat couldn't hurt him, hitting only 188. 5 homers, 26 RBIs. He's 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter. Fouled out of play, strike 1.
Osaski was called up when John Bench announced his retirement last year. Johnny Bench, by the way, is having his number retired in August. The 2nd Cincinnati Red to have his number retired. First one,
Freddie Hutchinson.
Fred Hutch, number 1.
That's right. I would like to think that there would be more. Cincinnati has not retired, but as you say, 2 numbers, and they have a long history.
Yeah.
There have been some great players there. Vada Pinson,
Frank Robinson.
And of course, you've got guys like Rose, Perez, Morgan, who are not ready yet. Ground ball to third could do it to Backman at second, and the Mets win again. The Mets have now won 8 of their last 9 ball games, and they are in first place by 1/2 game over the Chicago Cubs with 1 game to go before the All-Star break. The finale of this 5-game series, the Mets have won the first 4, will be tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 right here on WOR. Dwight Gooden picks up his 8th victory against 5 losses, and Eddie Lynch will be credited with his first save because he pitched the last 3 innings. What a ball game to get a save in.
That's the weirdest note to end this night on.
The Mets have beaten Mario Soto for the first time in his career, as Soto's record falls to 9-2 and his 8-win-in-a-row streak is snapped. Tim and I'll be right back to wrap it up for you. Ralph will follow with Kiner's Corner, so stay with us. It's a 10-run Mets victory, 14-4 over Cincinnati tonight. Now here's a word from Bud Light.